Welcome in on what is about to become a very rainy Tuesday, June the 23rd. Wallow and Stats with you until 6 o'clock. Another busy day in the world of sports. Not maybe as crazy as some other days, but certainly an interesting day in our pandemic world as well, where we have seen some people think, well, maybe there is too much of a rush in college football to get back. Dennis Dodd did an interesting article on the same day. The Jerusalem Post has posted a story from a doctor, and of course other people don't always agree with everything one particular doctor might say, but this doctor tended to believe that we have seen the mutation of the coronavirus COVID-19 to be not as fatal, not as dangerous a virus as was in the past. And therefore, we are getting up in the number of cases, but down in the number of fatalities. I listened to Dr. Jane on another radio station earlier this morning, and I thought he made some interesting remarks. One, part of the reason for the decline in fatalities, Brett, and I know you'll like this, is we have found treatments. We're doing a very good job of keeping those that are older, the ones that are most likely to succumb fatally to COVID-19. We're keeping them separate. And so that was a good positive things. But when you think about steroids, when you think about remdesivir, there were two other treatments that he has talked about now. That's the reason we are doing a good job of actually seeing the number of fatalities go down. He also made this remark, and I'm again sold now on masks. And what he basically said was they have a new model that is data-driven, that seems to be on the money, at least for the moment, and that is the spread of the COVID, which is almost now exclusively from oral droplets. The spread of that is at 17% without masks. With masks, it is cut down to 3%. So the message there, and the ordinance is coming out here soon. Wear a mask if you're going into a public building, or you're going to be around people. You'll be protecting those people, and I think to a certain extent you will be protecting yourself. And so those were the positives of the day.
Good afternoon, Dave. There are some positives, but there are also, with everything, there are some negatives. And in this one, now they're doing a pretty deep dive on March 10th. And that was the last night that I went to sports for this calendar year 2020. That was the night of the Grizzlies and the Orlando Magic game. But on that very night, on Tuesday night, March 10th, one night before the seminal sports COVID moment of Rudy Gobert, at a game at the University of Vermont, evidence that night that it was a super spreading event. Impossible to know how many acquired before versus acquired at that game, but there's a great chart with the distribution of a seating chart at that game that night, and the number of people that were impacted, infected, made ill from being at that game that night, March 10th. So we know there were those nights. You know, Dave, I'm surprised. And I can remember, I know on Friday, February 28th, before Saturday, Leap Day, February 29th, I closed the show. You may have been traveling. I think you were traveling. I think you were in New Orleans or headed to New Orleans with the Tigers to play Tulane. And I know I closed the show with, tomorrow I am going to Oxford in the daytime for Ole Miss in Florida, I think. Maybe Ole Miss and Vanderbilt, and then at night for the Grizzlies and Lakers. And I will be interested to see how many masks. Not a one anywhere. Not a one in Oxford, not a one in Memphis at FedEx Forum, not a one around downtown in Memphis. And now we're hearing, Dave, or we're reading and hearing and seeing, we may have had this virus in the United States as early as Halloween, November 15th, November, Thanksgiving for sure. Well, if we did, that means we went right through, let's say it was December 1st. that we had it. That meant we went right through the Christmas season, ball games, shopping, malls, parties, visits, get-togethers, bowl games, basketball, all the sports right into the new year. And this very well, that could have been, in that time frame, the first outbreak. But I went to basketball on Saturday, February 29th, on Thursday, March 5th, for Tigers Wichita State at FedEx Forum, Saturday, March 7th, and Tuesday night, March 10th. And there wasn't a mask at anything. And on that Sunday night, on 60 Minutes, on Sunday night, March 8th, Dr. Fauci was saying masks are useless. There's no need. There will be no need to quarantine people. There no need for stay-at-home procedures. And then things change. And your opinion changes with evidence. And he got it. This today from Indiana University, the Hoosiers in Bloomington. Doctors administered 187 COVID-19 tests for student athletes, coaches, and staff with 0 positive tests reported. Well, testing began June 9th.
And Memphis began June 6th, and there were 0. Let us hope that holds up. There have been interesting stories, and Dennis Dodd pointed this out. There have been 100 positives among college football players thus far. We know there was a fair amount, not a big amount in Clemson, but there was a fair amount in Texas for sure. Texas and Florida seem to be the hot spots. Mm-hmm. His point is that's 100 athletes that are on campus alone now. What happens when frat brothers come and they get on campus, when co-eds come and there are parties and guys and gals get together? I don't know.
And parents deliver them to campus.
I do not know, what the answer will be on that. I'll be honest. I think as we find out more and more, and if this virus is really mutating, or there's a geneticist that I read earlier, I think it was last week, and I may have mentioned this, that there are some people that might not just get it. I mean, there are some with the HIV that they're genetically not going to get it. And maybe that is the same.
Yeah, that's something, how things work.
Right, and maybe that is the way it is with some of these people. You mentioned I was in New Orleans. I was in New Orleans twice. I was in New Orleans in February, right after Mardi Gras, if you'll recall, for I guess that was the basketball game, or
February 29th.
Basketball game, right? So we are playing against Tulane. We go the day before, as we always do. I went out to dinner. I went to Mother's. You know how you wait in line at Mother's? You sit at a table that there is no existence of any kind of social distancing there. Everybody is on top of everybody there. It's not the cleanest place in the world. They're bringing out,
it's New Orleans.
The way they bring it out, right? It's New Orleans. I then met some folks at Harrah's, and then sat outside in a patio where there's all kinds of slot machines. It was a smoking patio, so I could smoke a cigar with a couple of buddies, and we're inches apart. And, I've never felt bad at all. I didn't even get my winter cold this year.
Never have either.
So
no, you didn't.
I could very well be.
I did, but it was Thanksgiving week.
Huh. I'm thinking it. When you're that close to one of the epicenters, and there was no regard at all at that point. This is still February, for goodness sake. Nobody's really
that was
scared.
Good genes you have, Dave.
No, well, maybe it is, or fortunate in this
so.
regard. We all have some good genes in some things.
That's right.
Others that aren't so good. But
that's right. And
for me,
it takes a lot of luck to get to every birthday every year.
I could just be genetically indisposed of it. I could have gotten it and didn't have any symptoms, asymptomatic. I could be asymptomatic right now, but I've never had a symptom whatsoever. And I was there right after Mardi Gras, where a lot of the cases that we saw in the southern and central part of the United States, and I saw a tracing of this.
And it was a super spreading event.
It directly came from Mardi Gras, New Orleans, and I was there the week after. So
And if Mardi Gras won't kill that virus, then you got a tough one. And Dave, for all of us, you just wonder, where do you catch that cold? Where do you catch that whatever that gets into your system that causes cancer, that causes pancreatic cancer or whatever? On average, 2.8 million people die each year in the United States, approximately 55,000 a week, about 7,700 a day. 650,000 a year die of heart conditions, about 600,000 a year die of cancer, about 40,000 people die from the effects of secondhand smoke. Lots of those deaths could be prevented, but we don't have a lockdown or economic crisis over it. Now, I know right now people are saying, but Brett, you're by and large not going to give anybody from kidney ailment or a car wreck. That usually is not impacting anybody else. You can't infect somebody else. But I don't want to play too big of a second-guess game. And Dr. Fauci, he spoke today, and he spoke very favorably today of a vaccine late fall or early next year. I'm not at all suggesting let's shoot the rapids bonsai. Here we go. But if we know we're getting a vaccine late fall, early January, and he said it's not when if, but when. I mean, it's coming. Let's throw this thing open and live.
Well, I'm
with some safeguards, with some measures.
I am certainly much more willing to do that when there is a vaccine, when we know that it is here, than to just throw caution to the wind right now. But I will say this: I did a little math, so bear with me. Okay, 109 new cases today. I'll give the whole update. Total cases now in Shelby County since we had the pandemic. Okay, 8,203 cases. We've had 5,662 recoveries, and we have had 166 deaths. So there are, at this moment, if you do the math, 8,203 minus 5,662 minus 166, it comes to 2,415 active cases. We have roughly 750,000 residents of Shelby County.
Oh, there's more than that. There's about 900,000 residents of Shelby County.
No, I think it's 750. I think the whole metro area is 1.2 million. I think Shelby County itself is 750. And if I'm wrong, just bear with me on the math at 750.
I will, but I think you're wrong. 2,400
cases, 750,000. That is 1/3% of the population of Shelby County that has the disease.
Mm-hmm.
If you go to Kroger and you've only got 1/3% of the population and you wear a mask, you should be darn safe. I mean, it's like
very.
There's
not
that many people that have it.
I'm ready to go out in one of my football helmets I have on. If that's what it takes. No, Dave, I just Googled it. 937, 166, the population of 2019 in Shelby County. That raises it even better.
Yeah, that means it's about maybe
but
1/5 of a percent.
But yes, sad for those that have 285 deaths nationwide on Monday, the lowest other than the day before since March 24th. The peak of deaths was April 21st. We're now 90% below that. I think that should be a screaming headline. Positivity rate, of course, it's going up, and it will until a vaccine or a vaccine comes along. Death rates have not gone up.
No, they've gone down. And as we mentioned, there's various reasons for that.
And I talked about the striving for perfection. We don't in anything else. We can't. We know we can't. Air traffic control is about the closest thing to it. I think some will only be happy when there are 0 deaths. And we never strive for that in anything else. We don't strive for that in a rabid dog attacking someone.
Well, bottom line is there is some there is some good news today. There is no doubt. When
There's
Dr.
plenty.
Fauci
There's
will
ton-
tell you that we're closer and closer to a vaccine. I meant to check it last, because the amount of vaccines they're working on keeps going up. It was 142 last I looked.
And I plead guilty to this. I crack on Dr. Fauci. He speaks, but when he speaks and he says something you like him.
Well, but bottom line,
when he speaks and says something that kind of rankles you, you don't like him. And all these numbers that we've just handed out over the last 13 minutes, everybody can kind of cherry pick something from over here and something over there and decorate over here that you like and can make your case. But I think ultimately that death rate is the harbinger, isn't it?
It is the most important one. Not that anybody wants to get it. We don't want our hospitals overrun. That's another aspect that you have to consider in Shelby County, and I'll give you the numbers here in a minute. We certainly do not have to worry about that. And when you think it's about a fifth of percent of the population that have it, I can understand why we have done such a darn good job of keeping it from going crazy like it was in New York City when people are on top of one another. My thing on Dr. Fauci,
Dave,
by the way,
neither one of us. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, on Dr. Fauci, he only changes his mind when the science tells him to, when the data says, okay, here's the way it's got to work, and that's when he changes his mind. So
it sometimes feels like it's on a coin toss, but you're right, Dave.
I don't think it is.
And I have defended, and I'm joking, and I have defended him. I don't like that people aren't ever able to change your mind. Sometimes when the facts are presented and new empirical evidence and data comes in, well, yes, I changed my mind when I got new information. I think that is a sign of growth. And not one time have you or I or anybody that I've heard on this radio station ever said, when I mentioned like 285 deaths, we've never said only 285. 285 matters. That matters a lot to me. I have never discounted a single solitary soul. Not one. I won't. This hour brought to you every day by Lexus of Memphis, 2600 Ridgeway. Online at lexusofmemphis.com. Call them at 901-362-8833. Lexus of Memphis offering the golden opportunity late June into the second half of the year sales event. Great offers on all 2020 models and always special lease options. Drive in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of an all-new 2020 flagship LS500, and you'll be looking and driving in style. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and that makes for the luxury driving experience. Online at lexusofmemphis.com, 901-362-8833. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
So, top story of the day.
So 109 new cases. I mentioned 2 deaths, total of 166 in Shelby County now, and I mentioned the 5,662 recoveries. The best positive thing for me out of all this, so you got 109 new cases, but you had 2,012 new tests. It was only a 5% positivity rate. And if we're looking at hospital beds, which is, let's be honest, when the economy was closed down, it was closed down because we did not want to emulate what happened in Italy, where the health system was overrun, and literally you had doctors that were granting life or death depending on who got a ventilator or a respirator. There weren't enough to go around. Now we are at 82% of capacity of acute beds, 76% of ICU beds in Shelby County, and that is without the use of the beds that would be needed if only under dire circumstances on Union Road. So
let's hope we don't, but if we do, we got them.
I think there's a lot to be taken from that, and what Dr. Jane said about treatments, what the Jerusalem Post said about the mutation
that was a good story, wasn't
of the COVID-19. It was a hopeful story for all of us. I mean, after you
hopeful.
You see the amount of football teams, NFL, and now college players, over 100 that have had COVID, and you've got college football writers saying, are we opening up back too soon? This, to me, was really pretty darn
that's not
good
unfair.
news. It has been a busy
That's
day,
not
though.
unfair to ask that question.
Oh, no.
It's not.
It's absolutely fair.
I'm not going. I'm not going after those people. I'm not doing that, and I haven't. And if you individually out there in our listening audience, if you have any apprehension, then don't go out. Be extra careful. But if you do, be considerate, wear a mask, and try to practice all the social distancing that people have begged for.
I've been talking about the hot spots not being Memphis, but Tennessee was a busy day. 750 new cases, 542 deaths now, a total of 36,000. Mississippi, 22,329, 978 have passed. And in Arkansas, 16,227 have passed. In the United States, we're at 2.4 mil now with 122,847 deaths, but 1 million recoveries and 29 million tests given. And on the World Dashboard, over 9.25 million now, 475,000 have passed away, and we've had 4,780,000. We're getting near 5 million recoveries.
5 million recoveries. That's good, and we sure pray for the families and the souls of the ones that have passed. My top story, baseball will play, but there was no deal reached. A man named Fred unilaterally imposed this. Why didn't he do this 2 months ago if he's got this in his powers? If you wanted to kill baseball, this was the perfect plan. Worst organizations in the country, in my humble opinion, baseball and anything in Washington, D.C.
I want to go over that later, too, because, in this deal that he is imposing, because there was no agreement.
And no expanded playoffs.
No expanded playoffs. Players are not getting any of the playoff shares, which is too bad because they were going to make some money on that deal. No microphoned players, so you can forget about getting that sound. No advertising on the athletes, on the uniforms. No, which I was surprised at, but that why would the players give that if the owners wouldn't give them anything else? But here's the thing I thought was really weird. It appears they will keep universal DH. And the reason it was said in the story that I read from, I think it was Jeff Passan, either Passan or Nightingale, the reason they're going to keep the universal DH in is because of safety measures? Explain that to me.
They can't.
Explain that to me. I didn't get that.
I can't.
At all.
They can't, Dave.
No.
Not top story of the day.
It is the story of the number one tennis player in the world, Novak Djokovic. He's got COVID-19. His wife. He was putting on an exhibition. It was a charitable fundraiser, and Novak and I think 2 or 3 of the players that were in the exhibition and his wife all end up getting COVID-19. Novak, if you don't know this, is an anti-vaccine guy, and he's come out and said he didn't think he would take a vaccine. He even said, I'd have to consider my profession if one of the stipulations to be on the ITP tour was to show proof that you had taken a vaccine for travel.
Oh, he's a big anti-vaxxer.
Yeah. And today, I think he said he may have to reconsider that stance.
Well, Dave, I've said a lot of times, 10 days in intensive care will it'll get you believing in something.
In his case, it'll be 10 days of quarantine because I think he's asymptomatic. Right. He and his wife both are asymptomatic.
Yeah. I am not an anti-vaxxer.
Me neither.
For us to have college football, they can stick the needle in my eye. I'll take it. I'll take it any way I can get it.
I'm not going that far, but you and I are in complete agreement. My wife goes, "Well, I'm not going to be the first one to take it." I said, "I'll be in line.
I'll be the first. I'll be the first.
You got it,
Dave. We'll coin toss. So which one of us goes first? My not top story: minor league baseball teams are now suing insurers over virus claims. One of the complaints is the federal government failed to recognize the severity of the pandemic. Oh, no kidding, Sherlock. Federal government swung and missed on it. Yeah. You're just now getting the news on that? Good luck with this lawsuit. Yeah. It's going nowhere. It was a waste of copy machine toner.
I agree with you on that. But, by the way, here's what I'll do. I'll let you go first on that vaccine, then I'll wait about 30 minutes, see what happens.
It was always like that guy in high school. The guy that wanted to walk the tab, guess who was going to leave first? The guy that came up with the idea to walk the tab. Dumb idea. Let's pay the tab.
Bingo. Greg Akers, speaking of the tab, he keeps tabs of
Great
business in Memphis. He's been on the show a couple of times. He will fill us in on the economy. We got a great show. Brent Beard on college football. Our friend Joe D'Ambrosia from Hartford, where the PGA Tour is going to be. The Travelers will start on Thursday. We'll make our golf picks tomorrow. Joe D'Ambrosia with us at 4:30. Bo Marchand, collegetopro.com on the NFL at 5. We are underway officially. And Greg Akers on this Tuesday on Sportstime on Sports 56. He is next.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
Eat well and stay healthy with Sweetgrass Next Door's to-go and delivery service. From shrimp and grits to pork chops to chocolate chip cookies and more, feed your need. Located in the heart of Cooper Young Midtown, Sweetgrass Next Door makes for an easy to-go, pickup, and delivers to all of Midtown, most of downtown, and even East Memphis locations. For more information, visit online sweetgrassmemphis.com or call 901-278-0278 to place your order today.
NerdWallet presents Money Questions, the lightning round. Here we go, Carol. How can people compare the best credit cards?
Turn to the nerds.
Should you pay off debt or save for retirement?
Turn to the nerds.
One more. Should I listen to my father-in-law's advice on mortgage lenders?
Turn to the nerds.
You win! Woo! Confetti is literally falling from the sky.
I'm going to put my winnings in a 2-year CD.
That would be prudent, Carol.
From helpful tools to expert guidance, for all your money questions, turn to the nerds at nerdwallet.com. NMLS ID number 1617539.
At First Bank Mortgage, their core purpose is to help you get to a better place. That better place may be a lower monthly payment, that vacation you thought was impossible, or getting into a home with a fenced backyard where your kids can play. To get into your better place, First Bank Mortgage makes decisions right here at home. Dedicated to helping you get to your better place, First Bank Mortgage. Call Daniel Mooney at 901-462-0145 today. NMLS 741022. Equal housing lender.
I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. I Buy Houses. I Buy Houses will buy a house in any area, in any condition, and yes, it's guaranteed to close in 5 days. If you need to sell your home quickly, call 901-406-1101. If you've been through a divorce, if you lost your job, if you're tired of renters, I Buy Houses can get you your money quickly. I Buy Houses will buy your home in Shelby County, DeSoto County, Memphis, Bartlett, South Haven, Horn Lake, Olive Branch, anywhere and everywhere in between in any condition. And yes, they're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Grab that pen, 901-406-1101. I Buy Houses.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
We like to party.
Welcome back in here in the Family Leisure Studios. It is absolutely pouring down rain at the Flynn Broadcasting Center. We've been waiting all day for this. It was like 90%. I kept thinking all day it was going to pour, and then you could see it slowly creep up across the river. It is here. If you're out in it, take it nice and slow and keep it with us right here until 6 o'clock. We're in the Family Leisure Studios, and I want to let
Dave, I try to stay. I'm sorry, Dave. I try to stay out of other people, other shows' business, but I've loved Greg and Eli's word attached to a song. Have they done it yet with Rain? Do you know, Drew? Have you heard?
I know they did Angel today.
They did, which I'm No Angel by Greg Allman would have been my submission.
It was definitely one of the ones that was submitted. I'm not sure if they'd done Rain. I'd have to ask Eli. Let me do that real quick.
How about Angel from Angel from Montgomery, Bonnie Raitt? Actually, I think it was a John Prine song.
I think
that was
wasn't she married to John Prine?
No.
Wasn't Bonnie Raitt one time married to John Prine?
No, she was not.
Is there not? Is there a relationship? Is that a brother? I thought there was some relationship.
No, they were buddies. He wrote a great song. She recorded it and made him a lot of money.
it was that simple. I made it a lot more difficult. But with Rain, Let It Rain by by Eric Clapton.
Oh, yeah. Love that song. Rain for
I
Me.
messed you up. I'm sorry, Dave.
Could be Raindrops but keep falling on my head, B.J. Thomas.
For sure.
Rain on the Roof.
Rain.
Who did Rain on the Roof?
Rain Over Me by The Who.
Oh.
From Quadrophenia.
Yeah, but
that's about one of the great 8-minute songs of all time.
Yeah, but isn't that REIGN, Over Me?
David, I think it is. Like lofting over you, raining over you.
Yeah,
I think
it is. It is. Who did You and Me and Rain on a Roof? Was that the Lovin' Spoonful? I think it was. I think that was John Sebastian.
I got no Loving Spoonful on my
John
iPod.
Sebastian song. We have just.
I have a feeling that's before my time, so I have no clue.
Anybody was listening that was from the Johnny Radio show, they have just left. They're going, who are these old guys thinking of all these old songs?
Loving Spoonful, let's send them running.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I was trying to say we're in the Family Leisure Studios, and look, they are really just trying to make your backyard a place to stay this summer, a staycation holiday place. They're doing it with complete pool packages starting at under $1,600. 24-foot pools, $19.99. Same price for the 4-person spas. Okay, you want the big swim spa? We got those starting at under $10,000. High-quality swing sets. For those of you who have younger kids, they love these things, and they're down from $34.99, the discount to $21.99, and they're offering contactless purchasing. What does that mean? It means you come, give them a call, pick up a time. Just say, hey, I want to come Saturday, 10:30 in the morning. Will you be there? Sure, we'll be there. And then you get to the parking lot and you say, hey, I'm here, and they come out. And they'll take you in. They'll make sure you're socially spaced. The distance is terrific. And they're limiting the amount of people that can come in the store at the same time. And they'll take you around to whatever you want to look at, and the salesperson will help you completely. And then you just say what you want. If you didn't want to go in, they'd bring you a catalog. I mean that sincerely. They will. Then you just tell them, here's what I want, and they'll either bring it curbside or deliver it to your home. Can't get any easier. Make your backyard a staycation holiday place. All you got to do is call Family Leisure. I think this is at least the third time. It's been a pleasure to have Greg Akers from the Memphis Business Journal on with us. And, I know we didn't get to phase 3, but we're still in phase 2. We've been there, I guess, for about 3-4 weeks now. Greg, how are we doing with opening up the businesses? Are we starting to see folks actually go out, go to restaurants? How are we doing in that regard?
We are starting to see some people out and about, and depending on your perspective, that's good or bad. I think it's good that people are feeling comfortable. Maybe they're ordering more from, they're going to restaurants and retail and things like that. And that's really good. The bad part is that people are a little bit too comfortable with the idea of being around each other. And there's been lots of reports and evidence, and I've seen it, and probably a lot of people have seen it just with their own eyes, of people who aren't obeying social distancing. They're not wearing masks like they should be, and because of that, we've seen a really big spike in new cases the last couple of weeks. That's really concerning. A lot of our officials and people who are on the task force, the COVID task force here in Shelby County, and it's people are calling it kind of a second wave, which is fine, but we never really got over the first wave. So it's kind of a wave on top of a wave. If you look at the numbers of new cases on, I'm a really big data guy. If you look at it on a chart or a line graph or something, it's really apparent that it's kind of like a mountain on top of a plateau. And it's not going the way it's supposed to be going right now in terms of us controlling the virus.
Well, Greg, if you love data and you love charts and graphs, this has been the Super Bowl of them. And you can almost get one to fit any argument, every argument out there, can't you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you can. It's interesting to kind of see the evolution of what is the important number in terms of what officials talk about. Is it new cases? Is it hospitalizations? And I'll come back to that. I think in a lot of ways that's the most important number in terms of what the actual official city policy is or county policy. There's a lot of talk about the positivity rate as well and the number of testing. There's so many data points. To me, positivity is important because it tells you, of everyone they're testing, how many of those are coming back positive. It isn't a great indicator. It's not a perfect indicator, I guess, because the number, there's such a variety, the variables of how many tests they do a day is pretty wide. So there's a lot of kind of noise in that data set. But in terms of what the county's really looking at, the worst case scenario really is they don't want the hospitals to get overrun. And they're going to do everything meaning the county and the state, are going to do everything they can to keep the hospitals from reaching capacity and not being able to take care of people, like we've seen earlier on in Italy and New York City. They do not want that to happen here, and the hospitalizations have been going up the last couple of weeks, which is a cause for some concern. One of our reporters talked to Dr. McCullers, who's with UT, one of the main advisors here, and he's actually seen that hospitalization number has dropped a little bit the last few days. So that's good. It's not at a just consistent climb. And the other good thing is we do have another facility they built in the old commercial appeal building for kind of backup, a break glass in case of emergency situation where if they need to put, hundreds of more patients who have coronavirus, they've got somewhere to put them. So it's really great. Probably the greatest success we've had the past few months since we started dealing with this is we got through that first time block where we really didn't have an outlet for our capacity if it got too bad. We got through that without it ever getting too bad, and now we do have backup. So hopefully we won't, of course, hit the capacity on with the backup also. But I'm really happy with, and I think they're really happy with us getting to where we are right now. It makes them a lot more comfortable.
We are talking with Greg Akers from the Memphis Business Journal, and I think you're spot on. I mean, the whole reason we shut the economy down on a nationwide basis was we did not want hospitals overrun. So that is an important data point to look at. And we had a texter who, and I had given this number before. Today, we found out 82% of the acute beds in Shelby County were filled, 76% of the ICU beds, not counting, because this isn't in the mix yet, that building hasn't been used, at 495 Union, the old commercial appeal building. My question from the texter is, does that number, what is the percentage that are used by COVID patients? What is the percentage that is used by other diseases? I don't think 82% and 76% are all COVID patients.
No, they're certainly not. What that actual number is, I couldn't tell you. And I'm sure that the health department does have that number. I don't know how up to date it is. But Dr. McCullers said today that one of the reasons they had an increase in the number of hospitalization of COVID patients over the weekend and last week was that they had a lot of people who were in the hospital who they were testing, because they're testing everybody who goes in the hospital, and then found out that they had the coronavirus and were maybe asymptomatic. So they're classified as COVID positive patients, and they're hospitalized for it, along for whatever else they were brought in for. So, when you really nail down in the data, like it's all gray area. You're trying to look at trends when really everyone is an individual. Every patient has their own kind of thing happening. But for sure, the important takeaway, I think, is when in terms of capacity, that's a hard number. Like, you can't go over capacity in a hospital, especially on an ICU type ward, where like they only have as much room, as many beds, as many staff members
It's
as
fine.
they do. Yeah, right. And so if they're in there because they got in a car accident, had a heart attack, or have coronavirus, it's a critical situation either way, and they have to go somewhere.
Yeah, and our emergency rooms, our ICUs are already overtaxed by a lot of people because of health insurance and the skyrocketing costs and the lack of it for so many people. They use that as kind of a primary care facility when it's really not an emergency, and maybe they don't transfer into ICU, but the emergency rooms are already very, very, very taxed. Greg, we talked about phase 2 and the potential of moving to phase 3 and even the doomsday scenario of going back to phase 1. It would be the final straw for a lot of businesses to have to go back to phase 1.
Yeah, it would. I think there's a lot of businesses who are hanging on kind of by inertia. They are hoping that they can, pay this bill this month and that bill next month, and try to hang on and hope that that the sun's going to come out and the next couple of weeks or next month, and they can start making some money again. If we go backwards, it really is the end probably of a lot of businesses. It's very possible even if we just stay where we are, because there's a lot of limitations on capacity for restaurants, for all businesses that retail and things like that. They weren't those businesses weren't created to only see 50% of their customers, and their inventory, their overhead, their business model it was set up for 100%, not 50%. And you can't. They just can't survive at a fraction. There is good news in terms of the Federal CARES Act really gave a lot of money, forgivable loans to a lot of small businesses, and that's been incredible. And there's been multiple rounds of that. And I think as that money as businesses kind of use that money up, and as long as coronavirus isn't cured, there's going to need to be more types of assistance like that to get smaller businesses, especially, to the finish line of a cure where we really are back to normal. And that could be next year. And some hard decisions are going to have to be made by everybody, business owners, of course, but also our elected officials. They're going to have to make a decision if they want to start, additional programs, or just let it play out, and which is going to, really be the end of a lot of businesses.
That, of course, is more on the federal side where that money is going to come from. Do you suspect, from what you hear or from our congressmen, our senators, that you get a sense there will be one more round of PPP money, or is this it? We're gonna keep the marketplace open for you, and now you're gonna have to fend for yourself.
I think there's probably going to be smaller, smaller bites of the apple, smaller scale programs. There doesn't seem to be real movement toward another really massive program like PPP was. that's, everyone is going to have an opinion about whether that's good or bad. I think a lot of the other programs that they're kind of putting out there, I just don't see them having that widespread ability to really help a lot of businesses. I kind of think that as we get closer to an election, that people are, politicians are typically going to be more averse to making some sweeping grand gesture that might get them voted out of office. And so I really think we could be looking at a crisis economically this fall if even if we're just kind of like we are right now, which is in the southern and western states, there's the coronavirus is spiking. So communities aren't really opening up further. They're kind of standing still and maybe in some cases going backwards.
Very guarded.
Right. And I just think that we could, it's very possible we haven't seen the worst of the layoffs, the worst of the bankruptcies and business closures and things like that. It could be a really, really rough time ahead.
I know the numbers were coming down in unemployment. More people were going back to work. How are we doing in that regard?
We definitely are. Considering how bad it was right out of the gate in March and early April, we're way better. We're still worse. We still have a higher unemployment number than we ever did during the Great Recession, which is crazy to think about. But until there's, I kind of, I guess I have a pessimistic theme here. Until there's really kind of a moment where things really are okay again, where businesses can open up and, have as many customers in as they can get, and their employees aren't afraid and things like that. I have a hard time imagining the unemployment really dropping much. It could continue to improve, but there's still going to be a lot of people out of work either way. And without some other kind of large scale program to help employers out, they're not going to be wanting to hire anyone right now because they don't have any money to pay them with.
Greg, as always, we appreciate it. I think this is your third appearance. We'll probably have to have you back. As
Terrific having you, Greg.
maybe we'll get to phase 3. I'm sure it's going to be delayed for another month.
I'm sorry we had to have a pandemic to have you on with us.
Me too. We'll
I'll tell you what. When sports come back, we can talk about the business of sports.
We'll make it up to you.
Yeah,
I would love that.
Thank you. We appreciate
Greg.
it.
Thank you all.
That is Greg Akers with the Memphis Business Journal. Lots of other stories today, including
hockey news out there.
I haven't even seen that. But we'll get to that in just a minute as you listen to Sports Time on Sports 56.
Sports 56 mornings with Peter Edmiston and CJ Hurt. Weekdays from 7 to 10. Only on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7 FM.
If you want to make money in sales, Flynn Broadcasting wants you. If you can sell, Flynn Broadcasting has a great career waiting for you. If you can sell, we have great benefits, salary, commission, sales leads, and a great place to work. If you can sell, let us know today. Send your resume to jobs@flynn.com. Can everyone sell? No. But if you can, Flynn Broadcasting wants you. Apply today at jobs@flynn.com. Start your great career today at jobs@flynn.com. Flynn Broadcasting wants you.
Ah, the copperhead snake. It hisses before attacking. But that's not a copperhead. That's the Sullivan's RV freshwater tank overflowing into their black one, which is backing into their vent pipe, making for a very different kind of attack. One that arrives just in time for taco night. It's wild out there. When it gets too wild, Progressive has your RV covered. Quote today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Are you tired of staring at that dent? At Mako, getting collision repaired is as easy as book, quote, fix. Come to Mako for collision repair backed by our best price guarantee. Uh-oh? Better get Mako.
Central Barbecue is committed to the health and safety of this community, who has supported Central for almost 20 years. Central Barbecue is still open for business with to-go and delivery options to serve the greater Memphis area with the same great barbecue you have come to know and love. With 4 locations to serve you, from downtown, midtown, and East Memphis, you can order your favorite barbecue and enjoy everything on the menu in the comfort of your own home. Call your nearest Central Barbecue location for more information on delivery and to-go options today.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Welcome back in. So we are getting hockey news, as you mentioned. We got a list of 6 cities. If that's what you're referring to, with Vegas still the American front runner. Chicago and Los Angeles, the other 3. Say goodbye, by the way, to Pittsburgh and Dallas. They're gone. Columbus was scratched off
imagine Los
a couple
Angeles,
of days ago. No.
With everything? I really can't imagine Chicago. Okay, it may be all Canada.
It could be Edmonton, Toronto, and Vancouver. They're going to go to 2. So apparently Vegas is considered the U.S. favorite. The 2 there could be 2 Canadian cities, though, that could be picked because Canada's federal government said last week it would allow the league to quarantine internally. And so Toronto, Vancouver, Edmonton, all 3 of those would be viable spots. I don't know, but I know this just coming across that I've seen. Nuggets star Nikola Jokic tested positive today in Serbia. His return to the U.S. temporarily delayed. He's been asymptomatic since testing positive last week. Jokic was expected to be cleared to travel to Denver within a week. They'll need him. I mean, he's a key player.
Oh, very. And they're a team, I won't say could win it, but could make a whole lot of noise.
They could. If you'll recall, I had them I believe I had them in my preseason picks.
And I liked it then. It was a bold pick. Might be a year early, maybe, and kind of building like the Bucks. I don't know if they've got the transcendent star that the Bucks that they enjoy, but Jokic is big timer.
He is. I still think. I think this, if we have the reset, which we will. Oh, by the way, I was just 24 hours off on the return of baseball, by the way.
No. Deal made. No deal was made.
Do you believe they're going to play?
I'm not so sure that they will, but there was no deal. It was imposition.
They're going to play now.
It was fiat.
They ain't going to play. I won't believe it till I see it. I won't believe it till I see
anything when
thrown.
I see it.
Players have all said they'll play, and the owners had to back off on.
And I've got to see it conclude.
Mm-hmm. All right, we'll see.
And how about this one, Dave? And some wise guy on Twitter, he hit it just perfect. All right, so let's go to the 12th inning, and they put in the goofy designated runner. What would keep somebody? Let's say, like, for the Cincinnati Reds. I think he plays for the Reds. Drew, where does Billy Hamilton play now, the speedster? Is he with the Reds still?
I believe so, but let me double check.
Wherever he plays. But let's say bottom of the 9th, 2 outs, tie game, nobody on base. Kind of the old nothing shaking but the leaves on the trees, according to Jack Buck. Mm-hmm. The manager gives him the strikeout sign. So he'll get to be the runner on second base with nobody out in the 10th inning. Because that's the last out goes to second.
Yeah.
Billy Hamilton, with nobody out,
right?
You can put the run on the board. Go Hawk Harrelson. Goofy. Goofy.
They're not
goofy.
They're not
stupid.
They're not doing any of the where you can re-enter the game, are they? That is not part of this.
Oh yeah.
No.
Oh yeah.
No way.
Re-entry still in play.
No, it is not.
Billy Hamilton is with the Giants now.
Okay. Giants, Reds, pre-law, pre-med. It's all the same thing.
So here's what I started to say, and I sidetracked myself. I'm a firm believer that we're going to have more upsets in these playoffs because everybody's healthy and because they haven't been playing together as long, I think you're going to see some crazy things. If Memphis
What
were
are the
to play,
motivations?
if Memphis played the
Yeah.
Lakers, young team, if anybody went
young
down
and
early
hungry
with the
team?
Lakers, I could, and look, Memphis has already had their taste of walloping the Lakers. I could
Sure did.
literally, and I know this sounds
February
so,
29th, game of the year.
homerish to say this, but I could see something crazy like that happening. I could
Us
see
homers, never.
I could see a one beaten.
Dave, we've all the things we've been accused of. We've never been accused of being homers.
Yeah. And I got a nice letter from the Grizzlies today. They sent me a mask, which, by the way, fits better than most of the masks I have. Believe Memphis mask. It's from the
I
Grizzlies.
saw Jason Wexler at the
communications
presser.
team.
That mask man.
Aha.
He was masked up at the presser with the mayors yesterday.
It was that Believe Memphis mask, and Grizz had one on too. Anyway, the message says we're all in this together, so let's wash our hands, and wear our masks. Here's one to get you started.
I'm all
Look
for it.
forward to seeing you soon. Isn't that nice? I thought that was a nice touch by the Grizz, and they sent all the press people.
Glad to see Jason Wexler out.
Yeah. Well, he's still a young man.
Now address the season ticket holders.
Well, by the way, I did hear, seriously, that the Grizzlies have given an option for refunds. They give you several options, and one of them is to take the refund. So I think
Cold cash?
I think that's out there. I have no idea.
I think there should be a presser before the resumption by the powers that be with the Grizzlies.
Don't you think there will be? I would think that they would do that.
I would have thought by now we would have had one, and it's been crickets.
Yeah.
But I did see Jason Wexler with his mask on with Grizz. That's a big old mask for Grizz's big old schnoz.
That one they had to make special, I'm sure.
Man, he sneezed. He could infect all of Shelby County.
Oh, yeah. That would not be good. I agree with that. This portion of the show brought to you by Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions. Roofing is an essential emergency service. Sadly, many folks don't realize it until the damage starts, and that affects the inside of your home. Please don't wait till the problem gets that bad. If you are suspicious, call Brian Elder Roofing Solutions, 901-867-0303. You know that number. 901-867-0303, and they will find your solution. That could be from a picture from out of outer space, or they'll come out and take a good look at it, too. They know for sure. No questions asked warranty. That sets them apart from all the others. And they have, as I say, all of the latest technology to make sure you are set. So all you got to do is call. Get a free consultation, 867-0303. That's 867-0303. One of the best warranties ever, and people you can trust. That's Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions. We've got an hour in the books. When we return, college football down in Jacksonville. We will talk with our friend Brent Beard. He's next.
Ugh, my stomach.
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Try new Pepto-Bismol Chews. The same fast relief of Pepto-Bismol, now in a delightful chew.
Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Farmers Insurance knows that when you're in the car and that song comes on, yes, that's the one, you have no choice but to pull out your imaginary drumsticks and smash those cymbals and stomp on that kick pedal, which unfortunately is the accelerator pedal. And we covered it. Talk to a farmer's agent who knows a thing or two because they've seen a thing or two.
Call Chad Gatlin at 901-235-1176 or get a fast quote at memphisfarmers.com.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Underwritten by Farmers Truck Fire Insurance Exchanges and Affiliates. Products not available in every state.
This is Dave Wolf, President and General Manager at Southland Casino. I want everyone to know that Southland is ready to welcome you back. We have a new program in place to help us all stay safe. So if you're ready to play, the most spacious casino floor in the Mid-South is open for you. Blackjack is live, the slots are rolling, and our clean team is on the job. So make this short trip to Southland Casino. Together we'll play it safe.
Must be 21 plus. Play responsibly. For help quitting, call 800-522-4700.
Golf is back, and DraftKings, the leader in daily fantasy sports, is putting you in the center of the action. It's easy to play. Just pick 6 golfers, stay under the salary cap, and submit your lineup before the tournament tees off on Thursday. Then sit back and follow the action. Download the DraftKings app and use code HERD. This week, DraftKings is putting you in the action with a free shot at millions of dollars in prizes. That's code HERD, only at DraftKings. Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, WIVG-FM Tunica Memphis, and WPG-FLP Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Welcome back in. Hour number 2 on this Tuesday edition of Sports Time with Wolo and Stats. A lot of college football we're going to talk about. Brent Beard's coming up later in the program at the bottom of the hour. Joe D'Ambrosio, one of our favorite guests. He'll join us from Hartford, where the golf tournament will be held as the crew tour now has moved from Hilton Head to Hartford, Connecticut. For the travelers, that should be an awful lot of fun. On Tuesdays in this time slot, we get to talk with our friend Brent Beard in Jacksonville. We talk college football every week. He puts out a whole bunch of notes. I guess I want to start with, and I'm sure that you've read it, Brent, and this is just a little roundtable discussion here. Dennis Dodd pointed out 100-plus positive COVID tests now among college football players before the regular students come to campus. We have Florida and Texas as hotspots. He throws out the suggestion maybe we came back too quickly. There's others that could say, well, no, wait a second. We're getting this, like taking the bandage off. We're getting this thing done, getting it out of the way now. We'll know what the problems are, and we still got almost 3 months. We'll have this right by then, and everything will be better. I'm going to ask you first, Brent. Do you think we came back too quick?
No, I think they came back when they needed to come back. I think they've got a pretty good plan to go by as far as the NCAA is concerned. I mean, we're still not even talking about that we're in July yet, much less in August. But, guys, I just think they've got to stick by their guns and continue knowing that these players are where they need to be. They're on campus, where they get better medical care, food, rest, and all that goes along with it. I mean, we've talked before, this thing's going to be a roller coaster, and the last few days have been difficult, but this is staying the course and at least giving yourself a chance by the end of next month before you get into fall camp to at least get a real good idea of where you are. Now, look, the players have got to have some responsibility, such as when they are away from campus, they've got to wear a mask and preferably, if you can get young people to do it, stay out of the bars. So that there's a little shared responsibility for them. But no, Dave, I think they came back when they needed to. It because at some point you just got to get started.
You have to try to get started. And Greg Sankey, in an interview, referenced a date really up into July, latter part of July, maybe even around the 1st of August for more traditional August camp starting as the deadline. Do you think we can collectively wait for college football up to July 28th, 29th?
I think we can. And look, I think they're going to, the commissioners are going to give this as good of an effort as they possibly can because they know what's at stake. They know the television money at this point is just something that they've got to be able to deal with. So, yes, I think that's fair to be able to know that. I mean, they will have gotten back, been tested numerous times by then, being able to be together and working out some of the difficulties with this. And at that point that we will probably, hopefully, know more then. And look, at that point, by the end of next month, if you've got other kids who have got it, they will have worked through it and are on to back to getting on the field and working out again. So not everybody's going through this. I know Florida's kind of a hot spot right now. Texas is. I believe it was Indiana that showed up today, and or it was reported they had none. So
they had none. Memphis had none.
Yeah.
In Indiana have none. I would think an answer
that might be our national championship game, Dave. If you had no test positive, Tigers and IU, that'd be a good coaching matchup. Ryan Silverfield and Tom Allen.
We're the COVID champs, that's for sure. I think it's a most likely scenario that you'll have to wait until July 1st before you really know, because this is
July 1st or August
stay
1st.
Fluid. It could be as late as
it
obviously is going to have to be as late as August 1st.
Yeah,
July 1st
we
to August
wait.
1st, and if they delay the season all the way to September 15th before you make a decision on what the whole season is going to look like. I think it's all fluid. We're all learning. I think some people should look to see how is it that in Memphis everybody came back without anything and they haven't had any kind of problem because they're tested on a regular basis. Why at Indiana did that happen? Why at Texas do we have so many?
Well, and you could throw LSU in there too, but I mean they have basically traced the LSU situation to the players leaving campus, going to some of the neighborhood bars, and getting the virus at that point. So again, it's a thing to where. These players, when they are out, they've got to be cognizant of the fact that they're not Superman. I think they are, but they've got to wear a mask and they've got to prepare themselves and not to be so close to each other. They might maintain some social distancing. I know that's hard for some of them, but the reality of it is, I was listening to LSU beat writer yesterday. And he made a good point. He said those guys have got some responsibility and accountability. I mean, everybody's trying to get this done where they can have a season for what they've done on campus and getting prepared. So don't go and mess it up by going outside, deciding that we want to have a party at the bar and then bringing it back. So that's where a lot of this is going, or these outside activities.
Brent, two-parter here. The first part, SEC coaches that they've won a national championship. Nick Saban at two places, Jimbo Fisher at FSU, and Ed Orgeron last year at LSU. Among those three, which one wins one again next? And then among the SEC coaches that have never won a national championship anywhere, which one wins one first?
I would say Saban probably would maybe have a team quicker able to do that. And I'm not saying that LSU and A&M can't, but I do think LSU takes a step back this year. You just cannot lose those players and coaches and rebound that quickly. And maybe I would say either Kirby Smart or Dan Mullen would be the guys not involved in that threesome. Is that reasonable, guys? That probably
sure.
With a roster that you've got at Florida and at Georgia, that one of those two teams could do it.
I keep waiting for Florida to return. And I think we all know how good a coach Kirby Smart is.
He can really coach.
So I'm with you the whole way there. Since you brought up Alabama, I saw in your notes that Alabama in the 2010s, this impressed the heck out of me. They played 66 top 25 teams in that decade. Ended up winning 51 of those 66 games, 51-15. But that's the most in the Power Five. He plays the best and still is able to knock everybody off.
Oh, yeah.
And he is scheduling up for his successor to really have an almost impossible time equaling what he did.
Hey, Brett, is it almost like replacing Bear Bryant type thing?
It's going to be – I think it's going to be tougher.
Sure. Yeah, because he's making that schedule so hard.
Yeah, absolutely. And
now he's got Ohio State a couple of times. Will he be there for that? What is that, 2026?
I don't know.
I think so.
I'll say this. He gets so much energy out of it as far as recruiting, and what brings down other coaches really fires him up, that frankly, I wouldn't put it past him. Now, I don't think he's going to I think he wants to be productive. He's not going to be there, guys, I don't think, and end up with a 9-3, 8-4, 7-5 consecutive type thing. I think he'll
He's
realize
not going to the Sun Bowl.
then that it's time to go, don't you?
Yeah, I think so, Brent. And this year, during the season, he will turn the age that the Bear was when he retired, and then a month later passed away, 69 years old. And 69 is not near as old as it used to be, and it's sure not I've never seen either's medical charts, but I don't think Coach Saban's medical charts would look anything like Coach Bryant's lung scans.
No, there is no question that Nick Saban is a lot healthier and has a healthier lifestyle than Bear Bryant had.
Listen, I hope that when I am in my late 60s, my stomach is that flat. And listen,
they say he never had a
this
cold.
is a basketball analogy, but you guys will understand this. I hope when I am in my 70s that I look as good as FSU basketball coach Leonard Hamilton.
Oh, yeah.
No kidding.
And I mean, using both those guys I do give Saban a lot of credit for that. I mean, he has done a really good job at keeping himself healthy and to keep going the way that he has. So, I mean, he'll tell you during his day. I mean, he has the Little Debbie's in the morning. Then I think they basically have salads the rest of the day. He works out at some point.
Reginald germphobe.
Yes, but again, I think that the reality is some people love their job and some people hate their job. And I think there are parts of it I'm sure he's not enamored with, but I think overall, I think he loves what he does, guys, and it shows.
I agree. Couple of change the culture sort of issues that have come up this week. First, the Confederate flag in the state of Mississippi. And I admire the Mississippi State running back Kylan Hill for taking the stand that he did. But it is also a truism that at Mississippi State, that at Ole Miss, that at Southern Miss, with all the conferences behind them now that are trying to push the state of Mississippi to give up the Confederate flag in their flag, that they don't fly on those campuses. So I don't know what Kylan Hill is hoping to totally accomplish here, because it is, the people that he's not going to play for are not the people that are going to make the decision on whether or not the flag is going to be changed. So I admire him. He's taking a stand, but I'm not sure it's a stand he can win.
Well,
and he played 7 months ago with that flag flying.
Absolutely.
Over the state of Mississippi, but not his campus.
And I'm with you. I appreciate what he's trying to do, but
I'm with him.
or the people who make the decision in the legislature. Does that make any difference to them? So, I think it's probably admirable to some of them, but that's a really good point. So, and listen, guys. I know you're aware of the Gator Bait thing that happened here in the Florida campus. The Florida campus is an hour away from us.
That was the second thing I wanted to talk about because that is very close to you.
And I thought that was one of the most ridiculous things that I've ever seen, to be honest with you. And here's my point with this. And I worked for Gator Bait magazine that you guys, I'm sure, have heard about for about 10 years, writing an SEC column for them. And to me, the intent here is important. Lawrence Wright and the Gator National Championship team, when they started that cheer, look, it was just one of these directed at your opponent. There was never anything demeaning about that at all. But my sense of this is, and there's still going to be, we all know Florida fans are still going to do that cheer if they're allowed to or not. I can guarantee you that. But look, guys, to me, if you want to make a difference in something like this, and you're the Florida president, present this another way. And what I mean is, offer a scholarship to minorities that need it, and or say, look, we're going to go out and we're going to help some of the black businesses in our area that are struggling, and to help them survive. To me, do something positive to help people instead of just taking something away.
Well,
and something that's more substance over symbolism.
Absolutely.
I don't quite get the Gator Bait cheer. I always thought was just sort of, we are the Gators, right? And we're going to try to intimidate you. You're just our Gator Bait because we're going to eat you up. I never put any kind of racial connotation to that. Refresh my memory because I know there is a story where this has changed things.
This just started with the national championship team when Lawrence Wright was on it, and I think when they were celebrating, they kind of came up with that. It caught on, and it just went from there. The band plays, and then they all put their hands together in a Gator chomp. That they're chomping up their opponent, but listen, there never ever been anything in that chant that was demeaning toward anybody, and particularly our black friends. And it just to me, the intent for this stuff is important. To be able to look at that, but I still say find a way to be more positive, and as Brett said, do something of substance instead of tearing something down or changing the name.
Brent, last week we had Paul Rogers, the voice of the Louisville Cardinals, football and basketball, men's basketball. We had him on largely talk about the Belmont and the Triple Crown races, but we veered into football, and he broke the story on our show about their game on Thursday night of opening weekend, September 3rd, would be moved to Wednesday night, September 2nd, if we have college football season. That coach there, Scott Satterfield, we talk about the heir apparent in the ACC to Clemson. Everybody naturally goes to Mike Norvell and FSU, and historically that makes sense, and Manny Diaz and his program at Miami. But Louisville, they've shown through the years they can be good. They just have to be consistent. Could this coach be that consistent one?
Yes, I think you can. As a matter of fact, Dave brought this name up to us. I think even a few months ago that this guy could get into the league and do that well because he's that organized. He's a unifier. He is. mean, look, now this is not Bobby Petrino at Louisville, but this is a guy that I think's got. I don't know if I want to use the word superstar coach, but this is a guy I think is going nothing but up. And I tell you this, and I'm selfish because I want more football, but I tell you guys, you think about this a minute. You've got a game now that's on Wednesday night, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Listen,
bring it on.
We do that every week. So that first, actually, you got week 0, then you got that week after that. That's heaven for us, isn't it? If we get to play.
Oh, yeah. You know, you guys have just absolutely written out of the script of being a great coach in that league and a program that really was a very good program for a long time. You're just totally dissing Justin Fuente and Virginia Tech.
Well, listen, when he came into the league, I agree with you, and I'm certainly not dissing him.
I played a little guilty to it.
I think now what I have heard with that is they really had to shake that roster up before he could really get his players in there for them to get going. Because I really was excited for him coming in from Memphis and what he could do, but at this point it has not worked like they thought it would. Hopefully they can ramp that back up at this point also, but that's a very good point. I mean, the jury's still out on what's going to happen at Tech, and I think he could get it done, but that's my understanding, guys. You may have heard something different, that they had to make some real changes in that roster before he could really get his bunch there to get it going over the next few years.
I do think that's part of it. I'm going to tell you another part that I don't think really gets talked about. And I know for a fact that Justin did not really want this particular player, this guy, on his staff. But in the end, he had no choice, because when I talked to him about that job, he was going to bring his own defensive coordinator.
Right.
And they did not let him do that. And so you had in Foster.
About Foster, yes.
Yeah. The guy's a great coach. I'm not saying he isn't, and he was great with Beamer, but that was not really the kind of guy, I think. Unless they really got along,
it inhibited his growth.
I think. There was another voice of authority for half the team, and they were going to stay with
Frank
him.
Beamer still around, and tantamount to it.
So honestly, I think now that Bud Foster's gone, I think Justin's got a much better chance here to get the kind of culture, the kind of people that he's more comfortable with around. There's only going to be one voice that players will have to listen to, and I think he's got a better opportunity now.
I never got the worshiping of Bud Foster.
Down the interstate in Memphis, but Jeff Collins is going to do a good job at Georgia Tech eventually.
Going to be a superstar.
They've recruited well, and the people who cover that program will tell you that they've got a bit of a spark. Now, look, I like Paul Johnson. I enjoyed his offense, but I know they've made the change, and I think he's going to do a good job. And again, I still think when he lands on his feet, and you guys know more than I do, that Mike Norvell is going to do some good things at FSU. So, with that said, I'm hoping, and we cover that conference pretty closely, that conference can do a reset in the next year or two and be what they were, Dave and Brett, 3-4 years ago. You remember when that conference looked like it was about to take off?
Yeah, it did.
And we're leaving out Mac Brown.
We are.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, it's hard to cover them all in the short period of time. But listen, has anybody done any better recruiting in what Mac has done? And look,
no.
I think we've said this before. Auburn better be careful in September with Sam Howell going against their rebuilt secondary. That could be a dicey game, guys, for Auburn when they play North Carolina. I don't think people are talking about that game enough yet.
I will say this, Mac Brown, that is one really great feel-good story. Most people thought, this was going to mail it in, one last big paycheck. sort of an ego kind of thing to come back. And the guy's working his tail off. Look at those recruits. Look at the way they played it so hard for him last year. I think it's wonderful. Kudos to Mac Brown.
And listen, compared to what we were talking earlier, think about this a minute. I don't know how long Mac's going to coach, but I'll say this. Mac's not going to be coaching 10 years from now. Let's be honest about that. But whoever comes in after him should have a boatload of talent, shouldn't they?
You sure should. Brent, as always, stay healthy. We enjoyed chatting with you. We'll do it again next week.
Great. Always enjoyed, guys. Take care.
Our friend Brent Beard down in Jacksonville, Florida. We love talking college football with him. Our title sponsor for this hour of the program's Homer Skelton Hyundai in Olive Branch, Genesis of Olive Branch. There was a guy stopped me on the street the other day, said, "That's Genesis' car, isn't it?" I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "Man, that's beautiful." I said, It is a good-looking car, isn't it?" He said, "How's it perform?"
You blew his doors off pulling away, didn't you?
I didn't. I was trying to be nice to him because he was so complimentary of my car, but he's right. He asked me how it performed. I said, "It's the fastest car I've ever had, and yet the performance is amazing." And by the way, safety, you wouldn't believe it. These G cars, well, the Hyundais too. They're just amazing. The technology, the safety that is in them. They are sophisticated pieces of machinery, and they get us around so beautifully, and they're durable. A 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty on every new Genesis, on every new Homer Skelton Hyundai. And this is why I love bragging about these guys that have been our title sponsor for years now. They always have the same people. They are a team. And they've been together. They enjoy being with each other. They enjoy helping you out. They have a passion for the car business, and they always come up with new ideas, like 0% financing for 84 months. And wait a second, how about 120 days on select models to make your first payment? We know, pandemic, you were unemployed last week, but in 4 months, you're back to work, the nest egg's building again, you can afford your dream car. They do it the right way. Homer Skelton Hyundai in Olive Branch and Genesis of Olive Branch, just at the corner of Highway 78 and Craft Road. We take a break, and when we come back, golf will be on the docket, or maybe some more stuff, because we've got Joe D'Ambrosio. Joe D, he's next on Sports Time on Sports 56.
It's R&R on Sports.
The word is out about R&R on Sports, where you've heard interviews from
Ken Griffith Jr., Dr. J, Hank Aaron, and many, many more.
R&R on Sports, Saturday mornings, 10 a.m., Sports 56, 87.7, and 96.1.
Don't miss us.
DeSoto Auto Sales specializes in late model cars with low mileage. They have the highest standards in the car industry. All of their cars are test-driven, checked out from head to toe. Unlimited inventory, every make and model. And if it's not on the lot, they'll find it for you. Walk in the door of DeSoto Auto Sales, 5704 Goodman Road. Within 45 minutes, you can test your car, get credit approval, and finish paperwork within an hour. No shortcuts at DeSoto Auto Sales. Kind, courteous employees, a down-home environment. DeSoto Auto Sales cares about your time. Lowest prices in a 350-mile radius. We're living in a world today where time does matter. Visit them online. Check out their referrals. DeSotoAutosales.com. Very proud to serve DeSoto County and other surrounding areas. DeSoto Auto Sales, 5704 Goodman Road. Call 662-890-7184. 662-890-7184. Come on down to DeSoto Auto Sales.
Chris Price here for Brian Elder Roofing. The storms we've had over the past several months have been devastating to our communities. The rainy season is ahead. You may have not even noticed the dripping in your attic, water stains throughout your home, or even worse, mold and mildew. Please call Brian Elder Roofing and we will send out our project managers to assess any damage. We will not try to sell you a roof if all you need is a repair. We will measure your roof from outer space. 0% for 60 months, even no payments till 2022 are available with approved credit. If you've noticed missing shingles, water stains, leaks in your roof, call us before you call your insurance company at 867-0303. That's 867-0303, and we will provide a free, thorough inspection of your roof's condition.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
folks, Bob Burkhammer for Sunrise Chevy. Good news for new and used car and truck buyers. The Sunrise Chevy Ranch has a great selection of new and used cars and trucks, rebates up to $6,500, and interest rates low as 0%. At sunrisememphis.com, you can select your vehicle, get your trade appraised, arrange financing and delivery. We'll deliver right to your doorstep, disinfected and ready to go. No matter what your past credit, Sunrise wants to get you financed. Immediate financing with next to nothing down. Need service or body work? Bring it to Sunrise or schedule an appointment online. Find new roads to Sunrise Chevy, 385 in Houston Levy, Collierville.
Gateway Tire and Service Centers has a beautiful new state-of-the-art location at 5275 Summer Avenue. And for the entire month of June, the new location on Summer has a great Father's Day special. Buy 3 tires and get the 4th at no charge. Visit the new Gateway Tire and Service Center with 28 bays for quick service, super safe with curbside service or lounge seating 6 feet apart. Check out gatewaytireservice.com for coupons too. The new Gateway Tire and Service Center, 5275 Summer Avenue. Call Matt for details. 901-683-8335.
Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Ocean and Brett Norsworthy.
My world was strapped against my back. I held my hands, never knew how to act.
Welcome back in as we cruise through our Tuesday. This is not good news. Cameron Champ has withdrawn from the Travelers Championship after testing positive for COVID-19. So now that's Nick Watney and Cameron Champ. He's the second. Watney, of course, came down with the COVID while he was in Hilton Head. I guess with all those pros, third stop, it's not terrible, right? I mean, we look at
bound to happen.
Yeah.
Really shocked it's not more, Dave. And now that with the contact tracing, anybody that Cameron Champ has had anything to do with, they're getting ready to be tested.
Well, who did he travel to? Hartford? Was he on that team plane that came from?
Who did he sit with at the lunch table?
Who was he next to on the range? I'm not sure, but I know a guy who might. For 40 years, Joe D'Ambrosio he's covered the Travelers in Hartford, Connecticut, in his backyard. Joe D, how are you?
What's up, boys? How are things down in the Mid-South?
They're good.
It's great.
We've been talking a lot of COVID, and we've got 8,200 cases here just in this county, so it hasn't been terrible. 166 deaths. So,
but you've been in the eye of the storm, Joe.
You have been.
Yeah, pretty much. Us, New York, New Jersey, have gotten hit pretty hard, though the numbers here have gotten much better. So they have opened, the governor, who I think's done a really good job, has opened the state up into what we call phase 1 and phase 2. But there's a lot of restrictions, and for a lot of the businesses here, boys, the question is, can you operate at 50% capacity and make enough money to survive? How long is that sustainable?
That's everywhere.
That's the 64. Right. That's the $64,000 question for all these businesses.
Yeah, that's not the margins you set up for. And I agree. I agree from afar, Joe D. I promise you. I thought Governor Lamont had done a good job up there. I hadn't been too tough on anybody's response to it because it hit everybody like a tidal wave in that Acela corridor, D.C. to Baltimore to Philadelphia to New Jersey to New York to Connecticut to Boston. It was ground zero. Sadly, once again, ground zero right there in your backyard.
Yeah, it's a good point. You can't, you can be critical of some people. Maybe their response has been too soft. Maybe they took the restrictions off too soon. But at the end of the day, guys, it's up to the individuals. It's up to us as citizens to decide if we want to go out with masks, if we want to protect others, if we want to socially distance, or we want to be morons and, act like nothing's going on. Because for a long time, I think one of the big problems in our country was people didn't take this seriously.
Right.
You're right. I think we got everybody's attention. And we now are about to be under a mandatory mask ordinance, even though there's not any penalty for not having it, at least at the moment. But it's there where you're required when you enter a public building and whether you enter a restaurant, you have to have the mask on. And, we had a doctor, Dr. Jane, who made the comment today that the difference in spread from those without masks to those that do wear masks is 17% spread without, 3% with. So that's a selling point, I think, a huge selling point to me. What is it? How horrible is it to have the mask? You get in a restaurant here, it's required where you walk in, maybe you order with it on, and then when you done with that order, and it's just the interaction between you and your family or those that you live with, whatever that may be, you take it off. I mean, it's not a horrible price you have to pay, that's for sure. Well, is the news about Cameron Champ, is that big around Hartford, or is this just breaking right now?
It's just breaking right now, David. I haven't. In fact, until you boys said it, I had not heard it. As you said, he is the second player out of God knows how many tests that they have done that's tested positive. And when you look at that, if you say two positive tests out of 1,000 total tests, that's not a horrible number. But because he's an active athlete, because he's been on the PGA Tour, that's what makes people stand up. It's not like Major League Baseball where, 10 people in the Phillies camp out of 50 people in camp have tested positive. That's alarming. And again, as you guys said, the contact tracing will be done. And, the tournament, there's no spectators. Media participation is extremely limited. And, everybody who spoke today at the press conferences raved about the protocols that are in place. Brooks Koepka talked about the fact that, his entire crew is on lockdown. His cook goes out and gets food, but when she gets back to the house that they're renting, she washes her hands. She makes sure everything is sanitized. These guys are very serious about this. This is their livelihood. They don't want to spend another 3 months not playing golf.
All right, if the governor of Connecticut were Governor Joe D. instead of Ned Lamont, would you be having this tournament?
Yes, I would. I think it's fun. I think it's needed for several reasons. Just the overall entertainment. Look at the ratings that the first 2 weekends of the tour have gotten. It's been great. The Travelers raises as much or more money for charity than any other PGA Tour event, and the companies the businesses that support the Travelers charities have all chipped in.
I was amazed. I got to tell you, Joe, I read that story today in preparation for you coming on, and I saw, because I know what our tournament does for St. Jude Children's Hospital, and it's right. It's still, even though it's a WGC event, they keep St. Jude in the sponsorship, in the title of the tournament, which doesn't normally happen.
Fabulous.
But you guys raised $2.1 million last year for charities. That blew me away. $2.1 million from this 1 week that they have in Hartford. The other aspect was that your tournament share said that they thought they would make as much money this year as they did last, because every one of these sponsors has said, okay, I know we're not going to have presents. We're not going to be able to party there. We're not going to have this feel-good thing. We're still giving you the money. That blew me away.
Yeah, they've done an amazing job. Nathan Grube is the tournament director, and I'm partial because we're pretty good friends. He has done a tremendous job in concert with Travelers, which has been a PGA Tour sponsor, boys, for 60-something years. But this tournament was on its last leg in 2006. They were thinking of making it a fall event at the time when the fall events were not as big a deal as they are now, or maybe going to what's now called the Champions Tour. But Travelers stepped in. They've done an amazing job. The late Dave Fishman, who was their CEO, and Andy Bissett, who's the chief financial officer and works closely with Nathan 24/7, 365, so close. I think they can complete each other's sentences. They've really revitalized it, and the community's behind it, because let's be honest, guys, in the summertime here, this is it. We have the Travelers for a week, and then people tap their feet waiting for the fall, and more so now the winter for UConn women's and men's basketball. So it really does an amazing job. The Hole in the Wall Gang Camp, which was Paul Newman's creation, is the primary charity sponsor. But they give money. They give money to 150 different charities. And the other thing is it's a lot more than just a golf tournament. They have turned it into an incredible week. They have a 5K run to raise money. They have a Women's Day Expo at the course that is sold out every year. They have concerts on what used to be the driving range behind, alongside the 18th fairway on Fridays and Saturdays. Now, all that stuff has had to get canceled this year because of the pandemic. But they've really developed this into a week of celebration and a terrific week, not just golf, but everything that goes along with it. And a lot of tournaments can't say that.
Well, you got
and an outstanding field.
Yeah,
and Dave, yesterday you didn't reference who said it, but I thought it was a good take. These guys are this good. They can obliterate anything, any course known to humankind. They can obliterate. But I do think the tour has been a little cozy with some pin positions, not being averse to birdie. I don't mind that at all. Have these guys blast away, Joe D, and go low, and first guy to 20, well, you might come in fourth.
Well, that's exactly right. That's the way it's been the first 2 weeks of Colonial and at RBC Heritage, and I don't think it's going to be any different here. Normally the winning score, I guess, is about 15 or 16 under, but these guys are all fresh. For a lot of them, it's their third tournament. Phil Mickelson's playing his second. Patrick Cantlay, this is the first tournament that he's played. It gave him an amateur exemption while he was in college. He shot a 60 here. This is the one he wanted to make his first tournament back. It's the best field ever. They draw pretty well because of the amenities. Normally, they charter a plane from the U.S. Open wherever the Open is, whether it's on the West Coast or in Minnesota or even in New York. They always charter a plane to bring the players and their caddies and their families up, and they've rebuilt the clubhouse. The clubhouse is a Taj Mahal. The only building I've seen like it was when Wolo brought me over his house once. But
yeah, well,
you know what,
Drew and I never get invited.
You know what? I got to tell you, you're talking opulence like my house and that and that clubhouse. If you're flying from New York to go to Hartford, that is a little out there.
Well, but the point is that they really are player and they're entourage friendly. They've been voted the favorite event on the tour by the pros a couple of years in a row. The clubhouse, and with all due respect here, spacious abode. The clubhouse is a Taj Mahal, and the players like come in. But 9 of the top 10 in the world. The only one who's not here is Adam Scott because he hasn't played anywhere yet. Tiger never comes here. It's one of the courses that he never shows up at.
No.
So him not being here is not a big deal. With the field that they have, people just kind of yawn and say, you know what, when he wants to come, he'll come. And if he doesn't want to come,
that's right, Joe.
He
hadn't been to Memphis either, and I say it every year. I know he is my favorite athlete to watch on the stage when he is in the moment, right up there with Ali, right up there with he's my favorite of all time. But he's never been to Memphis either. I say it every year. We've had plenty of tournaments without him. I would love the day that we have it with him, but can't miss anything you've never had.
Well, and Jack Nicklaus only came to the tournament twice when it was played.
He came 2 or 3 times here. That's it.
Yeah, and you know what? And Jack Nicklaus is my all-time favorite golfer. But the fact that he didn't come here, you know what? That's just the way these guys plan their schedules and stuff. So the field is great. Phil Mickelson's here. He's won here twice. Bubba Watson's a real popular favorite. He's won 3 times, and it was kind of interesting. They did about 9 player interviews today. And let me say this. The PGA Tour has done an amazing job helping those of us in the media over the first 3 weeks of the tour, those of us who have to prepare sportscasts, by putting audio and for TV folks, video of these press conferences up. I mean, all the leagues,
it's been great.
Every college conference and every pro league should take a look at what the PGA Tour has done.
I think they
Because
will.
they've
I agree.
I think they've been out of their minds. And it was funny. One of the big questions today, everybody wanted they and I don't know if it was on person who asked, but they kept asking about Bryson DeChambeau and how he's bulked up now and what that does to his game and would they do that. And I would think at some point these guys are getting a little bit tired of talking about Bryson DeChambeau.
Well, he gained 20 pounds of muscle. I mean, it is pretty evident, but you're right. He hasn't won yet, has he? No, I don't think so. So
No, not in these 2 weeks. But he's here.
Oh
too,
yeah,
so
well, you got 15 of the top 20, and it is amazing. Normally it would be after a major, it isn't. That's why Tiger's never really come because he doesn't play before a major. He doesn't play after a major.
Well,
Look,
John Rahm said today that the reason he doesn't come is because he always goes back to Europe to play in the European circuit. But this is a tournament that gave him his first 2 starts as once as an amateur at Arizona State and then once as a pro. So when he had the chance to come this year, with the way the schedule worked out, he jumped at it. So
he could be a guy that could win this week for sure. I mean, he hasn't really started to click. McIlroy's been lost. I don't know.
I think a guy to watch is Patrick Cantlay. Now Berger withdrew. Daniel Berger's not here. He's been hot. The Morikawa kid hits the daylights out of the ball. I mean, I think there's 15 or 20 guys at least who can win here.
Now you have done 40 of these. You told me, and we're running out of time.
Yes.
So, but I have to ask you if what were the requirements for a guy who's covered it for 40 years can't get in? What does it take, Lord?
Well, national media got first dibs. The 2 big papers in the area, the Hartford Courant and the New Haven Register, can send 1 writer apiece. It has to be the same writer for all 7 days of the tournament week. They're not allowed in the press building. They're somewhere outside of that. The TV stations are allowed 2 people to shoot B-roll. And now in the era of the MMJ, a lot of it is the sports anchors and stuff. But there's no contact with the players. They can't do live shots from on the course. They have to do the live shots from the auxiliary parking lot. And this is the PGA Tour that's doing this. This is the way it's been at every stop. So, and you know what? Well, it might be the future for all you big college play-by-play guys when September comes around.
Sure could be. We could be doing.
Let me tell you this, brother. I love you, but there's no chance in hell you could have social distancing in those radio booths at the Liberty Bowl.
Oh, there's no way. Well, they basically, from what I understand, they are planning on allowing us to do the games from the stadium, but we will. From what I'm told, is probably no spotter and no stat person. So it'd be 3: an engineer, myself, and Jarvis Greer. And
what about road games?
Well, road games, I guess, we'll have to wait and see. Most of the press boxes are bigger than the Liberty Bowls.
Yeah. Closets are bigger than the radio press boxes at the Liberty Bowl.
That is very true. We'll have to have you on as we get closer to that because
let me just give
I
you
miss
this.
you.
Let me just give you this. Tomorrow, the UConn Board of Trustees meets, and it is expected at that time that we'll hear what changes they have to make to the athletic program at UConn with the $40 million budget deficit. Right. It's expected at least 4 sports will be cut, and it may even be more than that. So there's a lot of anticipation about that.
Could football be one of them?
No.
Okay.
No chance in hell.
Okay.
No.
All right. Well, we might have to have you on soon about that. Thank you as always, Joe. We appreciate it. Stay healthy. You got it. Take care.
Thank you. Stay safe. Bye-bye, boys.
That is our friend Joe D'Ambrosia in Hartford. There is breaking news, and it's a big story. It involved NASCAR and the FBI and Bubba Wallace, and we'll let you know what that's all about right after this.
Search Sports 56 on Facebook and give us a like. And follow us on Twitter at Sports 56 WHBQ.
This is Dave Wolf, President and General Manager at Southland Casino. I want everyone to know that Southland is ready to welcome you back. We have a new program in place to help us all stay safe. So if you're ready to play, the most spacious casino floor in the Mid-South is open for you. Blackjack is live, the slots are rolling, and our clean team is on the job. So make this short trip to Southland Casino. Together we'll play it safe.
Must be 21 plus. Play responsibly. For help quitting, call 800-522-4700.
Looking for a great place to deposit your money? Try First Bank. Competitive CD rates, a money market that moves with Wall Street prime and interest-bearing checking account options. Not to mention their friendly bankers who make decisions locally. To find out more, stop by one of First Bank's 3 local branches. 6482 Poplar Avenue, just east of International Paper. 8398 Highway 64 across from Wolf Chase. And 6280 Highway 64 in Oakland. Or visit firstbankonline.com. Member FDIC.
Ready to take on that painting project? Ask Sherwin-Williams and get 30% off paints and stains with sale prices starting at $26.94 June 19th through 30th. With 30% off our exceptional paints and stains, you can give some color love to your bathroom, living room, or every room in your home. Shop in store or order online for curbside pickup. Retail sales only, some exclusions apply. See store for details.
We have all heard of Casper, you know, the sleep company with outrageously comfortable products at not so outrageous prices. From award-winning mattresses to pillows, sheets, and duvets, Casper is transforming the way we sleep, one snooze at a time. And now you can help Dad upgrade to the comfort of Casper with the Father's Day sale. Save 10% on any mattress order or get $25 off when you spend $100 or more on great gifts for Dad. Now through June 23rd. The original mattress provides the support and cooling that you need with the comfort you love. 4 layers of premium foam are designed to provide pressure relief for all-night comfort. Keep your back aligned with zone support, designed to provide extra support. From bedding, bed frames, even a dog bed, Casper has everything you need to complete your dream bedroom. And as always, free shipping and no contact delivery. Offer excludes bundles, the Element mattress, and sale items. Limit 1 offer per customer and order. Please see casper.com/terms for additional terms and conditions.
Is your wife asking you to stop eating junk food? Well, we have you covered at Humdinger's. It's quick and it's healthy, and most important, it tastes amazing. With many choices from salmon salad to rainbow trout and grilled asparagus. Come visit us for lunch at Humdinger's, 6300 Poplar Avenue. So good, Coach Penny eats with us weekly. Don't forget, Humdinger's offers full-service catering for weddings, social events, or your corporate lunches. You can call 901-260-8292 to find out more.
Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Welcome back in. It was a really, I thought, moving scene yesterday when NASCAR and all the drivers stood with Bubba Wallace in defiance of a noose that we all believed had been left in his garage, and the racism and everything that is symbolic of was stomach-turning in an awful way for everybody. I don't think I heard one person who could have possibly defended that. And so I want to say on the front end, that is the good news of this story, is that it seemed to me there was an honest feeling by NASCAR to get rid of any sort of racist connotation within their organization. But today we find out that NASCAR driver Bubba Wallace was not the victim of the hate crime, and that a pull rope fashioned like a noose had been on the garage door at Talladega Speedway since as early as last fall. Quoting NASCAR, the FBI report concludes and photographic evidence confirms the garage door pull rope fashioned like a noose had been positioned there since as early as last fall. This was obviously well before the 43 team's arrival and garage assignment. We appreciate the FBI's quick and thorough investigation. We are thankful to learn this was not an intentional racist act against Bubba. We remain steadfast in our commitment to provide a welcoming and inclusive environment for all who love racing. So this thing had been there for
I'm with you,
over
Dave.
a year.
I think that's good news.
Yeah.
And yesterday I thought we were both prudent in our comments. I asked almost rhetorically, what kind of loser is rolling around with the extra noose? Well, there wasn't anyone. It was a pull rope that was in a garage. They had no way of knowing that he would be directed to and assigned that garage. But a lot of people is having to delete a lot of hot take tweets because I saw a lot of people tweet yesterday that group picture of them pushing and escorting his car. And I saw a lot of tweets yesterday with somewhere among that group's the one that did it, when in fact nobody did it.
Yep. And there was no way, by the way, U.S. Attorney Jay Town and FBI Special Agent in charge Johnny Sharp
15 agents investigated.
Said nobody could have known Mr. Wallace would be assigned to garage number 4 last week. So this is not a hate crime.
I do have a question about the garage pull-down thing. Why was it fashioned as a noose? There's other ways to fashion a rope other than a noose. I mean, you would think that somebody could have walked in there and taken that and had that reaction, even if it wasn't meant that way. So, I mean, I've never strung up a rope and for a door or anything and decided, hey, a noose knot is the easiest knot to tie. No, like there's really no need for it.
I was a fair Boy Scout, but I wasn't that good with my tying.
I wasn't either. I wouldn't know how to tie a noose note. But, maybe I'm given the benefit of the doubt because it's pretty clear here this was not used as any gesture at all. The thing has been there over a year, and nobody knew the garage he was going to be in. But they used it
Dave,
as a
you remember
pull-down.
the famous golf course outside of Oklahoma City at Edmond? I think it's Oak Tree, and on their finishing hole is the symbolic hangman's noose. There's been majors played there. I think Jeff Sluman won a PGA there, in fact, and they had it for the Old West, the hangman. Right. I wonder if that still exists in these most aware times.
I would imagine that it does not, but that hangman's noose was not necessarily racially involved. That was for outlaws and bad guys in that day.
And a tough hole imagery, and you failed to conquer there.
It basically killed you is what the message of that hole was.
It's at Oak Tree because my time to play Oak Tree was going to be with a big crew on the Saturday the day after before the Sunday games. But that darn Bryce Drew ruined the fun for Ole Miss fans. And the crew I was going to play with all hauled back to Memphis, and there was no golf on Saturday at Oak Tree.
Wow, that's too bad. That's Edmonds, Oklahoma, right?
Edmond, singular.
Edmond? Oh, all right. Yeah, I've definitely – I remember that golf course. I've never played it. And that's 2 hours in the books. When we come back –
Nor have I. Thanks, Bryce Drew.
Yeah. When we return, we head to Youngstown, Ohio. Why Youngstown, you say? Because that's where Beau Marchant lives. He's next.
Did you know Geico's now offering an extra 15% credit on car and motorcycle policies? That's 15% on top of what Geico could already save you. So what are you waiting for? Your teenager to help around the house?
Okay, Mom, I emptied the dishwasher, vacuumed the basement, and folded the sheets out of the dryer.
Wait, what?
Oh, and next, I'm going to clean Mitten's litter box.
Are we in some kind of prank show or something? That's a camera, isn't it?
There's never been a better time to switch to Geico. Save an extra 15% when you switch by October 7th. Limitations apply. Visit geico.com for details.
Great news, sports fans. The Butcher Shop Steakhouse is now open for dine-in service. Make a reservation and enjoy a mouth-watering steak dinner. Or, if you prefer, take it curbside. In addition to their fantastic steaks, the Butcher Shop Steakhouse has a variety of entrees, including Canadian lobster tail, crab stuffed shrimp, hand-seared red snapper, and fresh ground steak burger with portobello mushroom sauce. Planning to cook out? The Butcher Shop Steakhouse offers a great selection of hand-cut fresh steaks, lamb chops, Atlantic salmon, and more. Father's Day is coming soon, so make your reservation for dine-in or pre-order for curbside pickup. The Butcher Shop Steakhouse, dine-in, curbside, and delivery. Call us at 757-4244 and visit our website, thebutchershop.com, for menus and more. The Butcher Shop Steakhouse, Walnut Grove and Germantown Parkway.
Chris Price here for Brian Elder Roofing. The storms we've had over the past several months have been devastating to our communities. The rainy season is ahead. You may have not even noticed the dripping in your attic, water stains throughout your home, or even worse, mold and mildew. please call Brian Elder Roofing and we will send out our project managers to assess any damage. We will not try to sell you a roof if all you need is a repair. We will measure your roof from outer space. 0% for 60 months, even no payments till 2022 are available with approved credit. If you've noticed missing shingles, water stains, leaks in your roof, call us before you call your insurance company at 867-0303. That's 867-0303, and we will provide a free, thorough inspection of your roof's condition.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Hi, this is Rob Brown. Join Pete Cordelli and me for Sidelines Saturday mornings, 8 to 10 a.m. on Sports 56, 87.7, and 96.1 FM. We'll cover the Memphis Tigers, the SEC, recruiting. Hey, if they keep score, we're covering it. Check us out on the website at sports56whbq.com and sidelines.live. Sidelines is brought to you by Duncan Williams Asset Management. Saturday mornings, 8 to 10 a.m. Get up and give us a call.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, WIVG-FM Tunica Memphis, and WPG-FLP Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wallo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
Final hour on Tuesday at 5 o'clock. That means Bo Marchant from collegetopro.com to talk the National Football League with us, and I will have a loaded question for him when we get to Bo Marchant. I will ask him, who signs first, Cam Newton or Colin Kaepernick? Bo Marchant coming up after I tell you about the title sponsor of this hour, and that's our friends at DeSoto Auto Sales at 5704 Goodman Road. Go online, check out all the happy referrals, the very many pleased customers, repeat after repeat after repeat customer at DeSotoAutoSales.com, 662-890-7184 at 5704 Goodman Road, where all the cars test driven, checked out bumper to bumper, head to toe, unlimited inventory, every make, every model. If they don't have it on the lot, they got it. But if they don't, they'll go out and find it for you. No shortcuts taken at DeSoto Auto Sales. You walk in and you treat it like family. Kind, courteous employees, laid back, down-home atmosphere, no high-pressure sales. They'll let you shop at your convenience, but they also know you want the ultimate car experience. They want the ultimate car experience for you, because we're living in a world today that time matters. You got all the time you want, but if you needed to, you could walk in, test drive your car, credit approved, paperwork completed, all in about 45 minutes. But I promise you, it won't be rushed, and it will be hassle-free at DeSoto Auto Sales on Goodman Road. Come on down to DeSoto County for that town and country experience at DeSoto Auto Sales.
Wild day today. It is amazing, despite the fact that we're in the middle of this pandemic, and there's hardly any sports being played, minus the golf and a few boxing matches and such, and we do have European soccer, and that's been going crazy. But there seems to be big stories every day. The big story today, there's two of them, really. One, just breaking that Bubba Wallace was not the target of a hate crime. An
and
FBI
that's a good news story.
Investigation found that the noose in Talladega garage had been there since 2019, and no one knew that would be the assignment for Bubba, that was number 4 garage would be his until a couple of days before. So there is no connection there. And the other is that Cameron Champion on the PGA Tour has had to withdraw from the Travelers because he has COVID-19. Earlier in the day, we found out the number 1 tennis player in the world, Novak Djokovic, also got COVID-19. We talk NFL with our friend Bo Marchant from collegetopro.com. I know you got a question for him, but while we're on this COVID and all these players, despite having 2 players with the COVID and an assistant coach test positive last week, Tampa Bay Buccaneer players, including Tom Brady and several teammates, are still working out. They were told basically by the NFL not to do that.
They ain't scared of no virus.
What's the story? What do you think of that, Bo? Are they not listening to their own people?
I think when you look at it from the outside, it's like, oh, these guys are practicing or they're partaking in an event or they're doing something where they're not social distancing. But I also think, though, I've been around family and friends throughout this time, and I think it's, I guess it's who you feel comfortable with. They're not going to maybe go outside that circle, but that internal circle, that inner circle of the groups they have, they must feel comfortable with. And this morning when I was running, I was going past, they were doing construction, and there was about 6 guys, paving, and they're together, and it kind of coincided with the Brady thing and them talking about those guys being together. So, they're both working. Those guys doing the paving were working, and those guys are kind of working as well. They're not technically getting paid, but they're preparing for this, hopefully, what's to come in the 2020 NFL season. But, I think if you feel comfortable with like anything, you're not going to go out without your mask and just gallivant through,
That's right.
stores and shake hands and do what. But, again, if my mom and dad wanted to come over tonight and have dinner, I'm not going to social distance. I'm not going to be over, hugging more than I would, but nonetheless, I would feel comfortable with them. So that's how I take it. I just feel that that's the inner circle of guys, and they feel comfortable with one another, regardless of what the NFL says.
Apprise our listening audience again, because you are a health, running, exercising, avid nut about it. Tell our good kind of nut. Tell our listeners again your stretch of running and what is it up to, and I with the backdrop of Bo, and this is a veritable marathon for me. I am now up to walking at a slow, leisurely pace, 16 miles a week. So now have your laugh at my expense on how much you run.
Well, that's fantastic, and we'll have to start somewhere. So maybe in a year from now, you'll be signing up for 5Ks and 10Ks, and baby steps, as they like to say. But I've been fortunate enough, thankful to the Lord above, been able to wake up every day. But since January 4th of '98, I've been able to at least do 3 miles every day, and did about 15 yesterday, did about 7 today, and hopefully tomorrow, have another run, I guess. But I'm proud of you, man. I know we've joked so many times on the show, just getting you out of the studio to walk down the steps, it's something you're going to be again.
Well, I went 25 years without owning a pair of I went 25 years without owning a pair of tennis shoes. Now I got tennis shoes from everywhere. I got tennis shoes from Ole Miss. My nephew took care of me when he was at Bama. I got tennis shoes coming out of my ears now. But walking 16 miles a week is like running an ultra marathon for me. All right,
I'm curious. Do you do ultra marathons? What is your you train?
No, Dave, I never have.
No, I know you.
No, I never have.
I know you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Bo.
Yeah.
Do you compete, or is you just like to run every day?
I've done the ultras. I Burning Rivers up in Cuyahoga Valley, about I'd say 25 minutes from Cleveland. Not even that really, but I've signed up for 4 100-milers there, and I've been fortunate enough to finish 4 of them. It takes me about a day.
You run 100 miles in a day, so basically 4 marathons.
Dang.
Yeah. So, unique story last year because my family hates me doing it. I told my wife I was going to cover a game in Illinois or Indiana, and I went and did a 50-miler race, and nobody knew. My son knew and a couple friends, and I didn't tell anybody else. So I was fortunate enough. I drove to Indiana Friday, ran the 50 miles Saturday. This is my favorite part. I drove back home after the race by myself. About 11:30, I got home, and I remember painfully, agonizingly walking up the stairs, and I threw the medal on the bed, and I said, and she, first she was like, "What did you do?" And I said, "Because they get so, it's almost like a black cloud over my head. They you can't do this. It's not good for you." Blah blah blah. So I was kind of like, I got away, but again, I like doing it. There's people who do far way more impressive things, but I just like running. It could have been bowling, could have been golf, could have been poker. Could have been, anything, but I just like running.
Wow. So you do laugh at my 16 miles a week walking.
He's doing 100 miles in a row.
No,
Stats.
Never.
He's not doing your 2-mile walk.
Nope. Yeah. No, I admire any. You know what it is? Because there's somebody out there listening that they do 20 miles a day, and when they hear I went 7 miles today, they gawk at that. No, anybody who, it's not even that. I just like doing it. And I hope when you go out for your walk, you're just, your mind's free. You're thinking about the day, what you're going to talk about tomorrow on your show. it's just a point for you to just have some time and keep healthy. So
do you listen
I
to
don't.
music?
I admire it.
Do you have earbuds in, or are you just focused on running?
A little bit of both.
Okay.
And this is it was kind of funny. My cousin's daughter made fun of me the other day. They saw me going past. I stopped to say hello, and she goes, you only have one earbud. And I go, I only bring one. I go, I only put one bud in. I go, so my other ear is a little bit, freer of sounds, dogs, cars,
right.
God forbid something. But so I only wear one. I keep one ear free, and then I have one ear. And it just depends on my mood. But I do enjoy music. But again, I enjoy the nature part of it too. But I'm definitely a music guy when I go.
Maybe I need to start live tweeting when I'm doing my walking during the day.
You go viral. You'll be like a social, celebrity then. You'll be like, besides your sports knowledge, you'll be like the Memphis DJ
you talk about
with
how it clears
the
it clears your mind, and you can think about things. And that's when I thought. I promised this morning. I thought I'm going to ask you who signs first, Cam or Colin?
Cam. I don't think there's any question. I don't question the commitment to Cam Newton coming back and wanting to play in the National Football League. I don't know if Colin Kaepernick has that same intuition that, Cam does in terms of, this is my goal right now in life to, be under center in the NFL. So I put it in one, Cam's, active basically, he's, I know he got hurt last year, but nonetheless, I think Cam would be the first to come back and possibly the first also to start a game in the National Football League if they sign a contract.
I would be stunned if Colin Kaepernick is not on an NFL roster if the season begins. When you are really basically getting a mandate from the commissioner, we blew this, we need to sign him, and he's only 31 years old, and he's in really good shape still. Somebody is going to take a chance. I would have to think that if they didn't, it's going to make the league look bad.
Yeah, I think that's the sole, I think Colin Kaepernick's the only one, granted the opportunity has to be presented for him to sign a deal or be brought into camp. But I think at the end of the day, if he's motivated to come back to the game, then we'll know that. I think if he elects not to, then I think we'll kind of know that this wasn't where he wanted to be. Maybe, I can't say, but, maybe, this wasn't his goal to be back in the league, but, we'll find this out. I think the opportunity is going to come when we keep hearing teams. Anthony Lynn said he would love to have the opportunity. Same with them. Why don't you, do something about it? That goes back to a lot of things that, going on. Go ahead.
I agree with you. That was almost our same in unison comments when Anthony Lynn had those. Anthony Lynn and the Chargers have been linked with Cam Newton. Cam Newton, if he signs, I don't think he'll be anointed the starter. Will he have a chance to win a starting job though? Wherever and with whoever he signs with.
Yeah, I mean, hypothetically, if Cam Newton would go to Los Angeles and sign with the Chargers, Tyrod Taylor's the guy in place, and I believe, speaking of Colin Kaepernick, and Tyrod Taylor was a 6th-round pick in that same draft, along with Kaepernick, who was in the 2nd round, and Cam, who was the first pick overall. So you think all these guys coming out of that same 2011 draft class. If Taylor played well, you might keep him. But if the Chargers struggle, or hypothetically, if Cam would be there, Cam's such an iconic lightning rod. People are going to clamor to see him. They're going to want to sell seats if fans are allowed in, and just
in
TV ratings nonetheless. Yeah, if Cam signs there,
I think Cam is. I think he's one of the all-time greats. And what I always say about all-time greats, they usually have that one last great, last final act. And I think somebody will get that out of him. Somebody will get some really good football. I don't know if it'll be Jim Plunkett like he was with the Raiders, and I don't know if it'll be even as good as Michael Vick that didn't get to a Super Bowl, but I think somebody's going to get at least one more, maybe two more, last vestiges out of Cam Newton. And if he does enough, I think Cam and Canton should be talked about someday.
Well, I think it's funny that you said, I was thinking of Michael Vick when you made that comment. And Michael Vick had his career disrupted, not by injury the way Cam has, but Cam has had plenty of time to heal, I think, now. And so, maybe he will be that kind of player. But Michael Vick didn't have to come back from that kind of an injury. Or from,
I think when we talk about, with Colin, it's the desire to come back. And for Cam, the desire's there. It's just, is the physical ability there, and that's what teams are going to want to see. And I think if Kaepernick makes a commitment, if he's asked to come to a camp, sign with the team, then I think that's our answer. I don't think he would go there just as a voluntary move to show face and show up at a camp just to be there. I mean, at the end of the day, he played in the National Football League. I mean, these guys are competitive, so I don't think they want to go and just go out there and just go through the motions. I think if he would come back, he would definitely want to make an impact as best as he can. And same with Cam. If the body's going to hold up and he's going to be able to be physically fit to sign and play, then you know darn well that he's also going to want to be he wants to rip that jersey open and show the Superman. He does not want to be Cam Newton. He definitely wants to be Superman if he returns.
One interesting story today: the Detroit Lions, who have been owned by the Fords for a long, long time. They changed owners today, but it's family member to family member. I didn't realize that Sheila Ford Hamp, who has been running the team, was 94 years old, and she has now handed the daughter Martha Ford is 94, and she's handed the reins to Sheila Ford Hamp, her daughter. Is there any chance that will turn the Detroit Lions around?
I don't know.
It can't hurt.
It's funny when I read that the new conference in Detroit was coming, where she was resign and pass the the torch to her daughter. I went and I started to research about her. And one, I didn't know she was a Firestone. Her grandparents were from Firestone Tire, so I'm thinking, well, that's a pretty good inheritance having the Ford and the Firestone. That's a pretty good foundation. But at the end of the day, who knows? I mean, the Detroit's Detroit. They're lousy, but they always seem to be in the mix where you feel positive that they may turn it around. And I wouldn't say they're closer towards either. I mean, they could be 5-11 or 11-5 this year. But who knows? I mean, for the sake of people in Detroit who love the Lions, maybe a new ownership, brings a spark and lightens up the mood and they have more success than they have. I mean, you think they're going to look back and think this Matthew Stafford thing. He was a pretty darn good quarterback, and we really haven't been able to do much with him. And even to find a guy like Stafford, it's hard to do.
They waste him, and they have found a way to waste a lot of great players. Calvin Johnson, Barry Sanders, Billy Sims, Lim Barney. I mean, the Lions have gone through a lot of great players, and you're right about those names. The best NFL name ever, though, is the actress Rooney Mara, with grandparents with the Steelers and grandparents with the Giants.
Yeah, that's pretty close.
Does she just have to show her ID to get in any NFL stadium she wants?
I'm sure. I mean, I remember, was it Raheem Morris who coached the Buccaneers?
He did.
Yeah, well, I remember one year down at the Senior Bowl, Tomlin was on the field at Lad Peoples, and he was walking, and he called Raheem Morris over, and when Raheem started coming on the field towards Tomlin to talk to him, they were like, whoa, don't come on the field. And you're like, this is an NFL coach. I mean, so I think at the end of the day, they got to check their credentials. I know at Ohio State, I believe they have a game where they have a fake ID on somebody down there on the field, and it's kind of, I guess, like a game where, the security has to find that particular badge. So they're always going through the badges. So unless she was chauffeured in, I'm sure if she took the wrong turn down one of those hallways in these massive stadiums we see, especially at Ford Field, I would assume they would know her, but you never know. So I would say over under, she would get identified and she'd have to have a credential at some point just because people may not know who she is.
She can get any kind of credential she wants, I have a feeling. Dak Prescott deal yesterday finally got signed, $31.5 million, for 1 year. And now the Cowboys have till July 15th, less than a month, to make a deal. Will they make a deal?
I think that's their goal. I mean, in a perfect world, if money wasn't the issue, I think they would have him locked in I mean, you look at Jared Goff was the first pick, Wentz was the second, Dak went in the fourth round. He has more wins than both Goff and Wentz, and both these guys got their extensions. I know Wentz got hurt last year, but Wentz has not won a playoff game. Goff is 2-2, has been to a Super Bowl, and Dak's 1-2. So they all enter their fifth year. Again, he has 40 wins. The other two have 33 and 32. And when you look at it, it's just a matter of them just saying, hey, let's reach some financial agreement and get this long-term deal done. I think it's a perfect place for Dak. I mean, when you look at the weapons around him, at the end of the day, I hope this gets done. And for his part and for the Cowboys, I just think it's a good fit, and I think he's talented enough. I found earlier I was going through some stuff, and I think this was back in January. Dak Prescott had the most game-winning drives since 2016 with 15, and he had the most primetime wins with 13 in any quarterback, in the NFL. So he's done some things, and overall success. I think we could look across the landscape of the National Football League and say, is any quarterback deserving of a contract in terms of what they've won? I mean, basically, there's only been one guy, and he's now in Tampa, that's done all the winning. The other guy's doing, painting places in terms of another guy who has won a lot. So at the end of the day, I mean, Kirk Cousins is going to make more money. I mean, I think 6 quarterbacks will make more money than Dak Prescott this year. When 3 of them have won Super Bowls in terms of Roethlisberger, Aaron Rodgers, and Russell Wilson. The others are Wentz, Cousins, and Goff. So at the end of the day, I mean, he's right there. But I think a long-term situation would be both financially beneficial because you can think about it, if they can make this long-term deal, one, they're going to have to, go almost 37 million next year. And, so that's just going to really, hamper, what the Cowboys could do financially. If you extend that contract out, then you have some wiggle room. You can give him the money and the fully guaranteed money that he's going to sign as a signing bonus. And then these contracts come down the road, you can kind of maneuver money and jockey it into different places if you need to. We've seen other teams do it, but I think for the best part, I think, and the Cowboys are on the cusp. I mean, they didn't go where they wanted last year. They missed the playoffs. There was so much excitement, but the Ezekiel Elliott thing went all the way to the end. Fortunately, they got Dak to sign this franchise tag. Now they can, move from here. He'll be in training camp. He'll be able to, do everything with the team. There's not going to be any holdout. So, that's a plus. But, Jerry Jones, if he wants to see this team win another Super Bowl, he has to get these things done because next year I think it's going to be
This is his group.
$37 million is a lot of money.
If he's going to win it with Dak Prescott.
Yeah, he is. And to think any other way, I think would be foolish. Yet again, $37 million next year. You don't want to, that's going to be. And what it is, it just reminds me of Kirk Cousins. If you franchise him twice, you're not franchising him for another year. And then these guys aren't going to take a step back. So I just think at the end of the day, you want to sign him, and a little bit on Dak Prescott's part too. I mean, you're not going to get Patrick Mahomes money. Nobody deserves that type of money except Patrick Mahomes. So at the end of the day, the ego of some of these guys, and I'm not saying Dak Prescott has that, but, I want to be the highest paid. That's great you want to be the highest paid, but, I guess, you got to come correct a little bit and say what Patrick Mahomes means to the Chiefs and the National Football League and just the quarterback position itself is very rare, and not many are on that level.
Last thing for our friend from collegetopro.com, Bo Marchant. And Bo, I started off with Brady and the Bucs, despite the warnings not to do anything because of COVID and all the cases that have popped up, they're still practicing. What are you hearing about a game that you want to cover, and that's the Hall of Fame game? It's about, 2 months away now?
Yeah.
Are we going to have
less
that?
than that, Dave?
Yeah, it's less than 2 months away. Are we going to have that game? I know they have sold 20,000 tickets. I can't imagine we'll have people there. What do you think will end up happening?
I'd say right now, no. I mean, Ohio hasn't had any spikes, but in terms of, it's not like Ohio, just people from Ohio. You're talking people from all over. I know Governor DeWine said July 1st would probably be in one of the last days in terms of like a ballpark figure on when they're going to be able to say, hey, you know what, we are going to allow so many fans into the stadium, or we're not going to allow any. I mean, I'm sure that's subject to change, but, that's kind of like the, unsettled date of July 1st. And, and that's the day I guess you got to look at. So we're a few weeks away from that.
Decision
but when we get to that point, definitely want to keep your ears, out there to kind of pick up what, the governor's going to say.
Stay healthy, my friend. We'll do this again next week.
You guys do the same. Always a pleasure.
That is
Keep on running, Bo. I'll keep on walking slow. Thank you, Bo.
We got some baseball news that has come out.
We do.
Jeff Passan, he's becoming Woj, isn't he? He's doing a heck of a
good.
job. He is.
He's very good.
We will give you that here in just a minute, but I've got to let you know this portion of the show is brought to you by Ken Garland, Custom Home Builders. Go to kengarland.com. I like to send people there because if you go to that website, I just can hear like it's a collective. Whoa, man, that's incredible. The dream homes, the renovations, bringing all the modern amenities into your older home. You love the location. You want the new stuff. You want a modern palace. Well, that's exactly what he does, and he's been doing it, he and his dad, for 40 years, all in the Mid-South, and you can see it at kengarland.com, and he's a rare guy because he sees little picture, big picture all at the same time. Those little details and exactly what you've got to see for the whole picture. He's got that vision. He's really a special guy, and he loves chatting with you if you want to. He works very closely with all of his clients because he knows the commitment you're making. So if that's what you're looking for, renovation, dream home, maybe you're looking for a new development. He's got one too. He's worked out with the Boyles. It's called Alaylon. It's a gated community on Messick Road, just east of Kirby, all the way to McVeigh. 4-bedroom homes start there at $875. Go look again at kengarland.com. You'll be amazed at Ken Garland, Custom Home Builders. The baseball news coming your way next.
Spend your lunch with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy on Sports 56 middays, delivered by FedEx. Weekdays from 10 to 1 on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
Anyone who builds, remodels, or repairs for a living, we know the way you work has changed. That's why Lowe's is committing today to build new ways to keep you working tomorrow. We are proud to introduce the new Lowe's for Pros job site, powered by Stream, an augmented video chat tool so you can be there for your customers without actually being there. And the cost to use? Try it free through October 31st at lowesforpros.com/proloyalty. Just one of the reasons why Lowe's is the new home for pros. Services subject to Stream terms. Lowe's loyalty membership required. More terms apply.
Golf is back, and even though the trophy is reserved for the winner, the big cash prizes don't have to be. To add to the excitement, DraftKings, the leader in daily fantasy sports, is putting you in the center of the action with a free shot at millions of dollars in prizes with your first deposit. It's easy to play. Just pick 6 golfers, stay under the salary cap, and submit your lineup before the tournament tees off on Thursday. Then sit back and follow the action. The more red numbers they have on the leaderboard, the closer you'll be to winning some green. Rack up points for pars, birdies, finishing position, and more. In a time of limited sports, this is your chance to scratch your competitive itch and reign supreme. Download the DraftKings app and use code HERD. This week, DraftKings is putting you in the action with a free shot at millions of dollars in prizes. That's code HERD, and you can get a free shot at millions of dollars in prizes only at DraftKings. Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
When you have frequent heartburn, antacid relief only lasts for a few hours. Prilosec OTC stops heartburn before it begins and lasts a full 24 hours. Its unique delayed release formula blocks heartburn at the source. With just 1 pill a day, you get 24-hour heartburn protection. Make the switch today. Prilosec OTC. 1 pill a day, 24 hours, 0 heartburn. It's possible while taking Prilosec OTC. Use as directed for 14 days to treat frequent heartburn, not for immediate relief.
Frontier Western Store is open and ready to serve you for all your needs in boots, apparel, pet food, and more. Frontier is proud to be a local leader here in the Mid-South when it comes to boots. Stop by the store today for an incredible selection of name brand work and dress boots. Come browse aisles and aisles of top quality boots at everyday low prices in our world famous boot showroom. Dan Post, Rocky, Durango, Twisted X, Georgia, Ariat, and many more. There are so many styles, colors, and fits available, you might need a hand picking out your favorites. Luckily, Frontier's knowledgeable sales staff will cheerfully assist you with any questions you have and ensure the proper fit of your new boots. Frontier also has an amazing selection of jeans and shirts by Wrangler, Ariat, and Carhartt, as well as a fully stocked women's boutique department with thousands of tops and dresses at unbelievable prices. New arrivals often. Frontier Western Store, 5880 Gilman Road in Olive Branch, and on the web at frontierwesternstore.com. Family owned and operated since 1967.
You'll see the dedication in every single step.
You'll see it in the smiles, when smiles are hard to get. You'll see it in the little things that add up to success. The caring and passion are the things that we love best.
Wolf Chase Limb Brace is your Mid-South provider for orthotics and prosthetics. They are an ABC accredited facility, and their practitioners are ABC certified. At Wolf Chase Limb Brace, their services include artificial limbs, legs and arms, braces of all kinds, and custom molded inserts. You can call them today at 901-507-7821 for their location on Highway 64 in between Germantown Parkway and Appling Road, or visit them at their new location in Jackson, Tennessee. That number is 731-660-5900, or visit them on the web at wolfchaselimbembrace.com.
Our life to yours. Wolf Chase Limb and Brace.
Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wallo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
Halfway through our final hour on this Tuesday. Got to be like a sauna out there now. Looks like it stopped raining. Sun trying to come out a little bit. It absolutely poured. That
a little
is
steamy
for sure. Yeah. Big stories today. Bubba Wallace, after the FBI investigated, was not the victim of a hate crime. That noose that was found had been there maybe for over a year, and no one knew when Bubba was coming which garage he would be assigned to. So that story's a good story, that there wasn't the racism that we thought was coming, but it was still a good story yesterday in the support of Bubba Wallace.
I still think
everybody.
NASCAR and Bubba Wallace distinguished themselves in that story, though.
I agree with you. And then this story really just breaking after the news of Djokovic having COVID-19 and everything, every other story that we've had. By the way, Patrick McEnroe, we found out a little while ago, had COVID-19, and he is on the mend. But I
hope he gets well soon. You remember the ugly on-air give and take Patrick McEnroe and I had with you on the air as well, when he jumped down my throat when I just merely described tennis as what it is, a country club sport.
Yeah, he
you remember that?
I do remember that. He took offense to that.
Man, he should, and then upbraided me at the tennis tournament later that day. I said, Patrick, it is. He said, I never played a set of country club tennis. I said, because your dad built the tennis center.
Yeah. He definitely did not hurt or have an upbringing that didn't
New York
come
tax attorney
in a
Mr.
major.
McEnroe.
Yeah, he's one of the one percenters. So
yeah,
this really has come out in the last 15 minutes or so, and it comes from Jeff Passan, the fine baseball writer for ESPN. He tweeted out, Major League Baseball has agreed, the players have, 2 training camps by July the 1st and play a 60-game season, but the deal is not finalized yet. One last health and safety hurdle to get over, and Major League Baseball will be back a week from tomorrow. I say it's going to happen.
Dave, don't. Dave,
you're going to bet on Rob Manfred again.
Dave,
this
please
is happening.
Don't do yourself. I beg you as a friend.
What's
please
on the
don't
line?
Do yourself like this.
How much? Are you going to buy me 2 distilleries now?
First of all,
Drew,
we're even.
Drew, we already have a high brand steakhouse franchise,
and I get a distillery in it.
I mean, I don't want to do this to your children's inheritance, Dave.
This is happening now. I am certain this is going to happen.
Put your swimming pool up on it. Me and Drew take over the pool.
What happens if by a week from tomorrow there is baseball? Well, then what do you do?
Well, you just be even.
What
on
do we
all
get?
that
Then we'll just be even. Then you don't owe me a distillery.
No, that's not true. We're even because of the Schwab bet. You see
No,
to forget
now,
about the Schwab
Dave.
bet. Yes. Yeah.
Dave, we can rewind all these tapes.
What other story?
We don't want to bore our listeners with that.
What other story? And it just actually popped up, and it's a guy that I really like a lot, and I don't know what's happened here. It's from footballscoop.com. West Virginia has placed Vic Koenig on administrative leave Do we know anything about that?
I saw that earlier. I saw that earlier, Dave, and I started to send it to you because you, like me, like anybody that's really had any. And Vic's coached everywhere. We all like him, and I don't know the gory details. Well, I do know that head coach at West Virginia is a big time guy, and I don't think he makes this move without some justification, corroboration.
All right, so here's
the season.
Here is what we're getting from footballscoop.com. West Virginia Athletic Director Shane Lyons announced he had to place defensive coordinator Vic Koenning on administrative leave following tweets by a current player about Koenning's behavior. And the quote is, "I want to thank Kerry Martin for having the courage to bring his concerns to light. We will not tolerate any form of racism, discrimination, or bias on our campus, including our athletic programs. Coach Vic Koenning has been placed on administrative leave effective immediately, and the department will work with the appropriate parties to conduct a thorough investigation into these allegations. This is serious, and we will act appropriately in the best interest of our student athletes." Apparently, Kerry Martin Jr. tweeted today, alleging Koenning called him retarded during a workout and expressed his belief that Koenning's comments made in front of players about religion and politics were inappropriate. Martin
well, you don't say
alleged,
that. You don't say that word anymore. You don't say that R word anymore.
Yeah.
Let me tell you who, and a lot of PC, political correctness. Imagine how coarse and crude our society would be if not for some PC. And a person that I don't think it's ever been accused of being politically correct or a snowflake is Coach Gene Stallings. But we all know the story of his adult son that had Down syndrome. And Coach Stallings co-authored a book with Sally Cook about the story of John Mark Stallings, Johnny. And John Mark passed away several years ago. And Gene Stallings and I were talking one time, and it got into political correctness and how to coach today and words you used to could say and things you used to could do that you just can't do anymore. And he says, you know what? A good thing that happened is we never say that R word anymore.
Yep. I remember him coming here with his son. I think it was a golf tournament or he maybe gave a speech, but I remember meeting the son.
I thought it was at the Baddour Center in UMC, didn't you?
That could have been. That's it. That's exactly right.
And just what a team that they were. And John Mark lived past the normal age for adult Down syndrome. And, I don't know how I say it. At one time we used to call, we called people with that a different term than adult Down syndrome or special needs. But we don't use the R word anymore. No. And we don't use the M word anymore with children like that. And I don't think Gene Stallings would ever be accused of being a snowflake.
No, and I'm a little surprised about
you survived the Junction Boys.
Yeah.
You're pretty darn tough.
I'm surprised about Koenning using that word. He also alleged
and I don't really want
that his high school coach, Martin's high school coach, who he notes is white, referred to Koenning as having a slave master mentality. When reached this afternoon, Martin's high school coach denied ever having said that and noted how much Koenning seems to care for the players that Koenning had reached out to the high school coach several times over the past few weeks. So, honestly, I've known Vic Koenning since he was a kid, when he was a grad assistant on Chuck Stobart's staff. And I have never I've seen him rough around the edges, and I've seen him tough with guys. I've never seen any racist thing at all from him. Now, the retarded thing, that could have come out. I don't know.
Yeah, but it's just not a word that should be used anymore. But that coach there, Neil Brown, he's a young up and comer, and they'll have to sort it out on the eve of the season. But no, that's not where we
quite
go
the
anymore.
Eve of the season, because we don't even
hopefully
know when the season will really start.
Dave, earlier,
it is bad.
I prefaced it with he's still got some work, maybe 2 or 3 good years left. But a texter very nicely said, what in the world do you think what lends you to think Cam Newton might go to the Hall of Fame. I love that all the reference sites, Pro Football Ref, Basketball Ref, Baseball Ref, Hockey Ref, and you got to go way down on the player's page, but they kind of compile birds of a feather flocking together, kind of players that are similar, in similar group. So far in Cam Newton's career, this is who he is lumped with, and they call it similar players whose career was of similar quality and shape.
Okay.
At Pro Ref. He's in there with Russell Wilson.
Before you do that, well, you're just giving one away. But I think when you first said that, it kind of raised my eyebrows. I don't really know his numbers by heart. But you did have this caveat that if he had a second act that was a better second act, a final act that was really good, then maybe I could see it. But I don't believe he's done enough yet to get into the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
All right, here's who he's lumped in with right now. This is the neighborhood he lives in. Russell Wilson, who still has a lot to go, but I think he's going in.
Yeah, I do.
Trent Green, not in. Roger Staubach,
in.
Kurt Warner,
in.
Tony Romo.
Will Tony Romo be
not in? Won't be in.
I don't think he'll be in. He may get in as a broadcaster when it's all said and done.
Randall Cunningham, very apt comparison.
Yeah.
Jeff Garcia.
But wait,
Rich Gannon.
Randall Cunningham didn't get in, did he?
No, he didn't.
Neither did Jeff Garcia.
No, only Staubach and Warner so far. Russell Wilson probably will join them. Rich Gannon. Matthew Stafford. We were just talking about him with Bo Marchant, and here's a guy.
There's no way
Matthew
Stafford should be in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, I think so. That the compilation of those numbers.
I got to see those numbers because what has he won? He
hadn't won anything.
You're talking about, in my mind, and I know it's a team sport, but you've got
eight
to
in
be,
everything.
You've got to be in the top 10% of your era. I just don't.
Well, Stafford has been.
I don't know.
He just hadn't won anything. He is like Calvin Johnson. He is like Lynn Barney. He is like Barry Sanders. He is like Billy Sims before the injury.
Alex Karras was a Lion, wasn't he? He probably was the greatest.
Alex Karras was a Lion.
He's in the Hall, isn't he? Alex Karras, I believe
he is
in Canton. Yeah.
And here's the last one in that grouping, and it's Mike DeCourcy's cause celeb to get the old timer in the Hall of Fame, and I think he should be in. Former Cincinnati Bengal, Kenny Anderson.
Kenny Anderson, wow. Huh. I love Kenny Anderson. He went to a
all
small
those
school.
steakhouses you owe us.
He went to a small school in
If you can
Illinois.
give me the school, and you we'll call it even.
My
all those
steakhouses
you owe us.
Don't put my distillery on the line.
Don't look it up.
I'm not looking it up. You can see me. I'm just trying to think. I know it's a small school in Illinois. I don't think this is
I'm going
right.
to the video now watching you.
Go ahead. I'm going to say, and I don't know that I'm right, but it's a school like Wheaton.
Oh, Dave, you had a chance to get all those steaks back. Augustana.
Son of a gun. I did know as soon as if you'd have said A, I would have gotten that immediately.
All right, if you give me his high school, I'll take you out for steak tonight.
You got to give me credit. I knew it was a small school in Illinois.
Pretty good. And remember that was almost right there with the. That was right. That was very close to the Jay Scheidler royal row we had one time with others. Remember?
Yes.
In the Blonde Bomber.
Yeah.
Oh man.
The peroxide
that spilled out into the parking lot.
Yeah.
And I'm going
high
to
school.
and all I said was Dave's right.
Give me the city in Illinois that he went to high school.
I looked this up. I knew Augustana, but I looked this up. Batavia.
Batavia High School.
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct?
That is. Yeah.
You owe me steak dinner. Tonight. You said tonight.
I told you Batavia.
I said, what city is he in? I just said, give me the
and
city,
I gave it to you.
and I'll give you the high school.
There's only one high school in Batavia. Come on, Dave.
That doesn't matter.
Come on.
Are we going to spill out in the parking lot again like with the Jay Scheidler discussion?
Oh.
And I defended you during the Blonde Bomber discussion. Jay Scheidler, what do you have? 4 good games at Kentucky?
Oh, he had more than that. He
didn't have many.
He wasn't a great player, but he had about 6 to 8 games, I'd say, that were.
Think
that were
about
really
him
pretty
now
good.
as the designated 3-point guy, kind of just hitting corner threes now.
If they played the way they do now, he would have been a more effective player.
Mm-hmm.
Think about if he had a
how
passer.
desperate Dave is
if
to
he
win,
had,
Drew.
If he had a passer
It's
like
truly
Sean
sad.
Toohey, he would have really been good.
Oh,
you know what, Sean Toohey, that may be one of those records that never gets broken because nobody
Never be
plays
broken.
that way anymore.
Well, you don't stay 4 years. Nobody wants to pass.
Correct. They all want to score.
That point guard doesn't want to.
The
He doesn't want to assist. He wants to get
that
to the
point
bucket.
guard, he wants to play like Russell Westbrook. That's what he wants to do.
I mean, look. If Bree and Tyree didn't threaten it at Ole Miss over 4 years, nobody's going to.
That's probably true. That is probably true. We've got to take a timeout before we get to crunch time. I got to let everybody know this portion of the show is brought to you by Conway. Conway Services, heating, cooling, plumbing, electric, and the tankless water heater. You get one from Conway, you'll never run out of hot water. Plus, these energy-saving models only heat the water you use. So basically, your MLGW bill goes down every month. And I love it that you never, I don't care if you're the fifth one in the shower, you never run out of hot water. And here's the other aspect I love. 10-year water heaters, when they're new, if they're tanked, 65% efficient. You get a new tankless, 98% efficient. And right now, John's got a deal. He always does, doesn't he? $79 a month, or he'll give you $300 for your old tanked water heater. And you know the other nice thing? You never have to worry about that tank bursting in your attic and water dripping all the way down your house because there's no tank. And with Conway, 8,000 5-star reviews on Google. That's the kind of service you get. They are really, really good. 384-3511, get into 2020. Get the new technology. Get a tankless from Conway. We take the time out. We're back in a minute. It will be crunch time.
Want to get your voice heard? Hit us up on the First Bank phone line or First Bank text line.
This is Dave Wolf, President and General Manager at Southland Casino. I want everyone to know that Southland is ready to welcome you back. We have a new program in place to help us all stay safe. So if you're ready to play, the most spacious casino floor in the Mid-South is open for you. Blackjack is live, the slots are rolling, and our clean team is on the job. So make this short trip to Southland Casino. Together we'll play it safe.
Must be 21 plus. Play responsibly. For help quitting, call 800-522-4700.
Oh, my stomach. When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Try new Pepto-Bismol Chews. The same fast relief of Pepto-Bismol, now in a delightful chew.
Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
At Jason's Deli, you can stuff yourself full of great deli food that's healthy, fresh, and best of all, it's not expensive. Jason's Deli is all about choice. Whether you're looking for a gluten-free menu, vegetarian sandwiches, healthy kids' meals, or if you'd like to invent your sandwich via the build-your-own selections, Jason's Deli has you covered. And they only use fresh, wholesome ingredients. Choose from the club and specialty sandwiches, paninis, wraps, soups, salads, pastas, and much more. I love the cleanliness in the restaurant, the hospitality, and of course the cost. They have a huge salad bar and great soups, including Southwest chicken chili, fire roasted tortilla, organic vegetable, tomato basil, and many, many more. And if you're planning an event, their catering department is fantastic and can handle any size party. Go check out Jason's Deli's 4 locations. On Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, that's my favorite, on Germantown Parkway in Cordova, at Poplar and Highland, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch.
Though we are apart these days, we're sharing more, and Geico would like to say thanks. Thanks for sharing your savage dance moves. Thanks for sharing your DIY haircut fails. Thanks for sharing your inner lip sync star. Now it's Geico's turn to share too, with the Geico Give Back, a 15% credit on car and motorcycle policies for current and new customers. And because Geico's committed for the long haul, the 15% credit lasts your full policy term. Visit geico.com/giveback for information and eligibility.
Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wallo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Come on, Muhammad, we hit fame. We beat you with the deal, we get in fame.
We got another One of those busy days coming to an end. Crunch Time will be with us here in just 1 second. I'll let you know this final portion is brought to you by Homer and by Genesis. Homer, Skelton, Hyundai, and Olive Branch, same place. Genesis of Olive Branch, where you can get right now 0% financing for 84 months. I love to say I think they're the standard in the way car business should be done for so many different reasons. They've all been together for a long time. They have transparent pricing and flexible test drive, but they're always finding new incentives like that 0% for 84 months. And on select models, you have 120 days to make your first payment. Think about that. We know, pandemic, some of you have been out of work. Now you're back to work. You're starting to try to put together a little nest egg. You need a new car. You need transportation. And they say, wait 4 months on select models and you're in. That could be a Tucson. That could be a Veloster. It could be my Genesis G70. They all have opportunities. Some are 90-day first payments before you have to buy. Go check. Just get on Lamar into Mississippi. Turn left at Crest Road. That's the very first exit. And when you're there, you'll see Chris True and all those gang. They're working hard for you. And know this product is so good. All the technology, all the safety, and all durable. Because every new car gets a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty. You just can't beat it. Do business with the best. Do business with Homer, Skelton, Hyundai, and Genesis of Olive Branch. It is officially crunch time.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
This is for all the biggest crunch time.
You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that?
Take questions again for the student athletes at this time, please.
What's happening, big dog? How you doing?
Is this thing working?
It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin. This baby is over.
Woo! Woo! Time for Taco Bell Crunch Time. Taco Bell, home of the crispy tortilla chips, topped with a double portion of either seasoned beef or shredded chicken, plus refried beans, nacho cheese sauce, reduced fat sour cream, guacamole, and a 3-cheese blend. Nachos Bel Grande, heaping portion of chips, topped with ground beef, tomatoes, beans, nacho cheese sauce, and a dollop of sour cream. Taco Bell, home to great food you get on your way home real fast, and they bring you crunch time every day. Dave learned today that presidential betting odds are out from the good folks at betonline.ag.
Are they good? I mean, are they as good with politics as they are with games?
I don't know. I've never followed them. Right now, Joe Biden leading at 5-8, Donald Trump at 13-10, Hillary Clinton 16-1, Mario Cuomo 50-1, Michelle Obama 75-1, Mike Pence 100-1, The Rock 100-1. He's the same as Mike Pence.
Oh,
The Rock,
goodness.
Mark Cuban 125-1. Yeah, come on now, The Rock ain't winning, is he?
No.
I didn't know any of them were running.
I didn't either. Hillary Clinton is.
I'm gonna make a.
What did you ever at 16-1?
16. I'm gonna make a bold political prediction. You ready? Flag the tape, Drew. 23rd of June. One of the two candidates we think right now, either former Vice President Joe Biden or current President Donald Trump, will not be on the ballot come November. Somebody's got to get loose in the bullpen in one of the two parties.
Is it COVID or?
I'm just saying they won't make it to November.
Wow. Interesting. We learned a lot of little tidbits today. There have been big stories. There was no hate crime in NASCAR against Bubba Wallace. That noose knot was in that garage possibly since October of 2019, and no one knew the whereabouts of the garage number 4 that Bubba would be in. So that one obviously was big. We learned Patrick McEnroe just heard he had COVID, that he has survived. And we learned that baseball has agreed to report to training camp the players by July 1st. Play a 60-game season. There's one little hurdle, health-related,
there's always
that
a hurdle,
needs to
Dave.
get passed. And once that's passed, we are all good.
Dave, you know a wrong clock is right twice a day.
It's a stop clock that is good twice a day.
Could have done without, with all the young Cubs, all the young Chicago Cubs that I got to see come through at AutoZone Park with the Iowa Cubs. And it was fun to watch. You knew they were building something big, and they did. I would have bet on 2 to be preeminent superstars, maybe on their way to Cooperstown.
Are you going Addison
One,
Russell?
Chris
on me?
Bryant, and the other one was Addison Russell. I would have bet everything I could have bet. He was on his way to superstardom, and now he's on his way to the Korean Baseball League.
Is that not sad? For what was it? Did I see it was like $589,000? I mean, it's not even a lot of money.
And I got to see more of him. Didn't see Chris Bryant many games as an iCub. Got to see Addison Russell over the course of a year, a couple trips into AutoZone Park, and I thought he would be Ozzie Smith.
I thought he was going to be great too. But I must also confess, while one turned out to be not nearly as good as we thought, and he had a couple of good years, Javi Baez probably was better than most people thought he would be.
Uh-huh. He had the look of being great, but I didn't think he would be superstar, but he is.
I could have done without the word coming out today that U of M defensive lineman Joseph Honeysucker apparently is just through with football. He is still going to be on scholarship, but he's not going to be on the team anymore. He's not going to play football anymore. He was a redshirt last year. He was, I want to say, the highest rated player in Mike Norvell's 2019 class. And he's just decided to give up.
It is something you cannot do without a 100% commitment. I mean, not even 90-10, because first of all, you can get hurt badly not really wanting to be out there. Keeping a close eye on a lot tonight. The countdown to Orlando, week 3 for the PGA Tour gets closer. 5 weeks until the WGC FESJI. The baseball schedule and the postseason schedule may be released, and we'll see if there are any more positive testing around college football and the NFL.
We got to thank Greg Akers, Brett Beard, Joe D'Ambrosio, and Bo Marchant for being with us tomorrow. We got another big show coming your way. John Goen will be with us, and I look forward to hearing him brag on his big picks because he was smart enough to pick up Webb Simpson. That is
Dave gets to go first because he finished last, right?
Last place in money.
No, I'm not. You're second. I'm second to last. You're still in last place.
Well, you were last week.
Well, I'll be happy to go first. Brooks Hansen.
It's money. It's money.
Brooks Hansen is going to be with us tomorrow, and Bruce Marshall. We may have a surprise in there as well. That'll wrap it up for all of us. We'll see you same time, same place tomorrow. Have a great night, everybody.
Happy summer to everyone from the Rendezvous in the Alley in downtown Memphis since 1948. And don't forget about their shipping, but you always can visit the restaurant 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Tuesday through Saturday. Want a taste of Memphis to celebrate the 4th of July? The Rendezvous, they've got you covered. They've been shipping ribs and pork shoulder all over the country now for decades from their USDA-inspected kitchen right in the Pinch District in downtown Memphis. All of the ribs are hand-cooked in pits over charcoal, just as they do it at the restaurant. And the shoulder, it's slow-smoked